Simpsons Index, an online spreadsheet that is also a podcast. This is the podcast.
Coming at you from SideQuest Studios, this is the Simpsons Index, episode 67. Hello, I am Elliot Jay O'Neill, your host of this podcast, and joining me tonight is BT Calloway.
Nodding.
And Jordan Frost.
Hello.
Thank you guys for joining me in our brandly newly named studios. And also, thank you BT for the name.
It's alright, I thought of it while drinking.
When I heard you say it, I was going, oh, that's a good name. Yeah. And I'm like, I wonder how long that has been around.
About a
Today.
About a week, yeah. Beej messaged me while I was in Adelaide. I was also drinking, and I was like, all right, that's a fantastic name. I'm going to sleep on it. And, I still like it in the morning. I still like it a week later, so this is our new studio name.
You're going to ask it to move in with you?
Oh, whoa.
Okay. All right. You're not that committed yet. All right. We'll
Checked
see.
it out from across the room. Checked out the name spot. Asked the friends about the name.
You're going to take it to meet your parents now.
Yeah.
That's the next step.
And coming out of the SideQuest Studios is The Simpsons Index, the podcast where we watch and review 3 episodes of The Simpsons at a time, but the catch is that each episode comes from a different decade. And starting out the festivities tonight, we watched an episode from the HD era, and this was Season 26, Episode 17, Waiting for Duffman. This was first released in March of 2015, written by John Frink. Yes, there is a actual person named John Frink. And in this episode, Duffman injures his hips with a rather enthusiastic, oh yeah! And they have like a so you think you can dance style competition to find his replacement. And guess what? It's Homer. Guys, what did you think?
Moments of quite good humor mixed with utter abject horror at what they'd done.
Yep.
Mm-hmm. John Frink did not make me laugh and did not make me think.
Man, that monkey is gonna pay.
As well
Hey,
it should.
You can't say that. That's racist. Sorry.
It wasn't racist until you said that's racist.
Yeah. As like a side thing, I just like to add it's racist to anything.
Yeah. Or you do that. I can't remember which comedian it is, but you do that. I'm not racist, but I usually prefer mayonnaise on my sandwiches.
Look, I love women, but I just think limes are better in Coronas than lemons.
Yep.
Yeah, it's that simple.
Try and figure out how to be offended at that one.
Throw it to Tumble. They'll figure it out.
All right. We're avoiding talking about this episode because this was just so bad. Jordan, what's a joke for better or worse that stood out to you?
For worse, I really didn't like the first instance and then the callback to Homer talking about, being schnockered, for one. That's not a word. But two, some call it schnockered. I've maybe been lacquered. You might even call it a subconjunctival hemorrhage.
Yeah.
And then he gets this, it's the joke that we've talked about before where it's
the immediate stupid.
Yeah. Well, it wasn't it was the immediate effect of the injury coming to being, and his eye kind of gets blood in it, and he gets Izine, I guess because they didn't want to pay Visine.
Powerbot.
Yeah. And then later on, he gets angry at something and the blood comes into his eye again.
Yeah.
I was like, what was the point of that joke? I really hated it.
You know what?
He has serious problems.
Don't know if it was actually funny, the callback. I just, because I liked the joke of them taking back the confetti, and Homer was like, oh, can I get confetti? I won. And he's like, you can have a single confetus or something?
One
I did like
confetus,
that,
yeah.
Hits him in the eye. Homer goes, ow, realizes he wins, goes, woo, oh yeah. Then the hemorrhage thing happens. And I think because it was just a quick succession of absurdity that I laughed at that. But
I was still enjoying the term one confetus.
Yeah, I think the reason I didn't like it was because in the first instance, it's like I mentioned the disease and the disease happens.
Yeah.
With no stimuli to his eye.
he may have drunk a beer in that scene. I can't remember.
But anyway, it just happens. And then the second time it happens, it's because the very sharp, obviously, confetus pokes him in the eye.
Yeah.
And so it was just like, I thought it was going to go in a good direction at first because it was like he's coming up with more obscure words for being drunk. I've been schnockered, I've been lacquered, and then he just listed a medical condition, and then the medical condition happened, and I was like, well, I'm really let down.
Beej, for better or worse, what's a joke that stood out to you?
I'm going to go to the positive side and just say sign writers, once again, just You goddamn keep this show
Oh
alive.
my god.
Yeah.
So, okay, to start off, there's when they're showing support for the injured Duffman, there's someone at the front with a sign that says "Keep Hops Alive."
Yeah.
There is.
That's pretty good.
They give Marge a handbag which just says "I'm hiding a Duff."
Yeah.
In the background of the Duff Museum was Kegosaurus.
Yeah, I did like that one.
Yeah,
Yeah.
where it had the Stegosaurus but had the little bottles coming
Yeah.
out of
his
instead
back,
of the plates.
yep.
Yep, definitely. Yeah, good joke.
Yeah, but then they're playing golf. There's a little sign that says "It's below par," which in golf is good. When they are on the blimp, which then crashes, then Marge is reading a book that says "Surviving a Blimp Fire."
Yeah.
That's, you know what? That's the one thing I think they did well in this episode was because they're like, the rope catches fire because it goes into the tire fire and it comes up
Yeah.
and the blimp guy's like, that is not good.
And
then
that
they
was
just,
an act break, yeah.
Yeah, and then they cut to just Marge in bed reading the book, How to Survive a Blimp Fire. They don't go into like, oh, I'm glad we got out of that blimp fire.
Yeah.
And I'm like, oh, thank God.
She's kind of reading it and like, if this happens again.
Yeah.
Yeah. Or because for me as well, because it was an act break, and then like when it cut back, it was just straight into Homer and Marge in bed after Homer had like apparently been stuck in this blimp fire, and I was like, oh, Simpsons not covering their tracks. What the fuck was that all about? And then she's got the book, and I'm like, okay, Simpsons, well played.
So I'm going to throw back to the possible theory from Nick from Podcast on the Key of Springfield. Where,
Nick.
Yeah,
Like and
Nick.
subscribe.
No, who suggests that all events in Springfield are happening all at the same time, in which, due to wibbly wobbly timey wimey, maybe Marge read the book and then was in the blimp fire.
Oh. So she was prepared, so that's
She
why
was
it's not talked
pre-prepped.
about.
Yeah, because Marge knows what to do. She's read the book.
Yeah, not a bad idea. Yeah.
Not bad, not bad.
A
I
bit,
like
a bit weird to happen like that in the same episode, but
yeah.
you know.
But when we're talking grand unifying theories of Simpsons,
Yeah, you got to bend the laws. Yeah.
The one joke that sticks out at me, and you went negative, you went positive. I'm just going to go straight down the middle. And what the fuck just happened?
I think I know which one you're talking about.
The weird Bear Trap cartoon.
Yeah,
Where
Oh,
Duff
yeah.
makes us feel no pain. It's made from Canadian rain, and it'll tickle your brain, and then it repeats, and it's annoying. And
Yeah, it
And
does
there
it
was-
twice.
And there was no like, this is our whole of advertisement. This was the very first advertisement for Duff, or something that would have explained why it was happening. It just happened.
yeah, well, and it also came right after the Game of Thrones thing, and
Yeah.
coincidentally after us doing the Surfsons that this
Yeah.
happens again. Again, as my Game of Thrones resident fans, what did you guys think of that?
I hated it.
When it started and it was just an ad for Duff, I was okay with it.
You know why I think it went on so long? Because they used the actual Game of Thrones opening theme music.
They would have had to pay for that.
Yeah, so unlike in the Surfsons a couple of weeks
Yeah.
ago where you guys were, it sort of alluded to it, not really. This was actually like an almost shot-for-shot thing of the Game of Thrones intro.
Well, not shot for shot, but it was the music was exactly the same, and it was the whole intro music with like a minute and a half's worth. And I think they paid for it, so they're like, we're using the whole fucking thing because
Yeah.
it continues on while Homer is doing his like version of the pledging the
Taking
black.
the black, yeah.
in which is that's something that you can do. Like criminals can take the black and they go up to the wall and they
Defend the wall.
Yeah.
So, as a parody, how do you think that was written, his speech, in comparison to
No,
the source
I
material?
knew what they were doing, but I don't know why they were doing it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Because, he even has the line of, I shall take no wife and take no lands, except the wife and children I already have and the lands I already own. It's like, well, then why are we doing this?
It just
Yeah.
I liked it if it was just going to be the ad.
Yeah.
And it was an ad, and Homer's like,
Yeah, and I was like, okay, I'm okay with this.
because he does. He says, "Oh, it looks awfully overproduced," and they were pointing at it. But then it just continues, and they're in a church of Duff,
Yeah.
and he's taking this old-timey oath, and it's
Yeah.
just weird.
Yeah,
I just didn't like it.
I didn't know why in that scene that it was just his family there. Like, shouldn't there have been a I don't know, Game of Thrones. Was this a thing?
There should have been, like, board members or something. That was dumb. It was just...
Who takes an oath as like you sign a contract if you're a regular person? You don't take an oath.
We've already seen that the behind the scenes of works of Duff doesn't work like many
true.
businesses. They have a bunch of executives apparently in H.K. Duffman's office to
Yeah.
agree with him, and then they have a fucking a little mini theater filled
Yeah.
with.
I actually did like that. Where it's like, why did the committee decide on this? Well, studies have shown that people are more comfortable with a decision if it was made by a committee, if it was
Yeah.
a bad decision. And then it just pans out to bigger and bigger groups of committees.
Yeah.
Yeah, and I didn't mind the joke. Okay, the bowl get a raise or something.
Yeah, give a raise to the lower bowl.
Yeah,
and
the
they're like,
lower bowl.
yay!
Yeah, that was weird. BT, what story moments from this episode stood out to you?
The fact the story is garbage.
Yeah,
It's like Homer becomes Duffman, then BT can't drink. because they've implanted a chip in him, but they actually didn't. Then he's like, oh, drinking is actually ruining lives. I'm gonna fix it. No, you can drink. And then he just immediately turns around. So
Yeah.
you didn't learn anything. You didn't develop. You didn't have a stance. At least in, that episode where he gives up drinking for a month and then he goes to Moe's to have a beer and decides, no,
Yeah.
I'm going to go home and spend one more day sober with my family and bicycle with Marge. It's really cute. But they did nothing here. He's just like, drinking is bad until I can do it again. Then it's great.
Yeah, definitely.
If I can't do it, no one else can.
Yeah, it just makes him feel like an inconsistent douche.
He is a bit of a douche, yeah.
Yeah, not a jerk ass, because
No.
it wasn't malicious. It was just short-sighted and boring, I guess.
Well, the other thing is, like, it wasn't going deep enough into the moral because it was in the blimp scene where he looks around and he sees all the, objective, terrible things that beer does to people or whatever they were going for in that moment. But did that feel like enough of a turn to you guys to justify his newfound stance to...
No, I mean, he sees some hobos. He's seen hobos before.
Yeah, I guess I didn't mind the thing where Moe was, like, bottle feeding Barney.
Yeah, I like how Moe shoots the blimp. That's some good aim there, Moe.
Pretty dark.
Especially with like a shotgun,
Yeah.
which is Jordan's anal corner. He would not hit from that range.
Not even with special Moe slugs.
Maybe if it was a rifle and he was a competent marksman, maybe.
I'm going to say he is an incredibly
But I
competent.
feel like it would kill Homer. Like the
Yeah.
bullet would go
Oh, yeah.
through the lens.
If your bullet can pierce the shell of a blimp,
Yeah.
go through and hit the telescope.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It
It's like
can
that bit in Enemy at the Gates or whatever it is where
Yeah.
he sees the sniper and he shoots the sniper through his
Yeah.
own eye
yeah.
hole.
Yep.
Except Homer doesn't die because he's a god, as we all know.
But yeah, I mean, we've seen Homer see Moe get people drunk all the time.
Yeah. Jordan, what was a moment from the story that stood out to you?
Okay, the thing I didn't really get, there was really no impetus for them to completely cast aside the old Duffman. And especially when they go back to him later in the episode, they're like, come back. I didn't understand why he was like, well, no, I've changed my life. I'm not about Duff anymore. I think it would have been better if, for example, it's like, it was like, what was that movie, Dave? I think where they had to find like a double of the president while
Yeah,
the
yeah.
president was sick or
It
something.
was Dave. I think the president was dead.
Yeah, oh, yeah. And they got Bill Pullman to like come in and be the
Yeah.
president.
Yeah.
I think it would have been a better story to be like a kind of like that. Okay, we need a replacement Duffman, but we can't like tell anyone or something
Sure.
like that. While the other Duffman recovers, because it didn't really feel like he had any reason to not want to do his job. Like he still loved it. Obviously, he was wearing the clothes
Well, yeah,
underneath.
the
and-
early implication is he's injured to such a point that he can't be Duffman anymore. But then he's fine later.
Yeah.
So-
Yeah, it's almost like it was the start and end of two different Duffman stories. So the story moment that stood out to me was this idea that was kind of dropped in like 2 or 3 times in this episode that Homer was going for the role of Duffman because he felt unsatisfied with his life.
Yeah. To which I just wrote down the note, you've been an astronaut.
Yeah.
Yeah.
At this stage, you don't get to do this with him
Yeah,
anymore.
yeah.
That bit when he said, oh, I'm thinking about my obituary and it'll just read H. Simpson, father of 3, or whatever, like extra pallbearers needed. But I'm like, fuck off. You've done so much with your life.
He has been a legitimate celebrity multiple times. Again, astronaut.
Yeah. Fucking hell. Like, toured the country with a bunch of bands. Like, he's in the know with, like, a bunch of celebrities. God,
Yeah.
like, he got into a punch-up with a former president. Like, what the fuck else do you want?
Yeah, those are the ones that aren't even going into like season 10 and beyond.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, they just don't have license to do this anymore.
No.
Yeah, like there's motivation, absolutely. If you just said, I love Duff and I want to represent them, there we go.
That's enough.
If he's all like, no, I wanted to have an impact on my life, and that's why he's trying to do good with his position of Duff Man,
Yeah.
sure. I mean, it's a little bit stonecutters, but, he's decided he wants to do good
I just had a great
for a
idea.
positive impact.
Why not tie it in to the Lisa the Beauty Queen episode? He never got to go on the Duff blimp.
There you go.
This is his
Yeah, yeah.
ticket onto the Duff blimp. That's why I was
Finally.
like, why isn't he more excited to be on the Duff blimp?
Yeah, and that'd be a nice
his
way to
life
make a
dream.
callback to an old episode.
Yeah.
Better episode, you fuckers.
Well, yeah, and I was thinking, like, there's a part of me that wanted Duffman to be sort of his mentor throughout this.
Yeah.
I can't do it anymore, but I'm going to show you how to, be the best
How to
Duffman.
thrust those hips like
Yeah.
you love Duff.
Yeah. You could have set sort of more of this, like, Homer's emotional tie to Duffman earlier in the episode when, like, this opening fucking scene was just a stupid-ass sketch show until...
Why was everyone on bikes? I was looking down making notes about how
It
bad...
was like the Duff bike rally or just Springfield bike rally or something.
I was making a note about how bad the couch gag was, so I didn't say it.
The fucking portal one.
Ay caramba.
Teleporting, and oh no, here's Homer's head. Ay caramba. Yeah, fuck off.
All right, well, we'll get back to the story in a moment, but play count. How many times before tonight have you seen this episode?
I've definitely seen it the once, maybe the twonce.
Jordan?
The nunts.
The nuns. Yeah, BT, I think we both saw this at the same time on, because I definitely remember this was on one of the planes when we were going to or from America.
Yeah.
Because I remember us both watching it and sort of just go, what the fuck?
I think we were actually making running commentary style on the plane.
As you struggled to hear like the audio through the
get like a
constant
passengers. The passengers in 37T and 37D have ranked this a bronze.
I'm gonna get a bronze.
It's not gonna get a bronze. Because we really wanted to do like just on a mobile phone if we found like a new episode.
But you should. That'd be great.
We just didn't get the chance, I don't think.
Well, the problem would be just the airplane noise as well.
Yeah.
Like, because it is a constant persistent and then through a phone which also does its own constant persistent. Like, I think it would have just sounded like garbage.
Beef or fish? Beef or fish?
Sorry.
Sir, do you want beef or fish?
We're all out of the beef.
They never have the beef.
Yeah.
So did this feel like an episode of The Simpsons?
This isn't a personal criticism, but I think about like how many podcasts we've done where you've led off with, no one's really off point.
Well then, fine. I'll just flip my entire fucking script then just for you, Jordan. Fine. Off point, no one seems.
It's easy to see our conversational patterns when you record them and release them every week.
Okay, I bet I know what B just gotta say. No, I'm
You're
sorry.
right. I was headed for that. We don't realize our failings until someone just blurts them out immediately.
Oh, I know. I say a lot of stupid shit. So
when?
Like right now. Every single fucking time.
Well, I do think Jordan is off point.
Yeah.
I don't think anyone is particularly off, but I think the morals of the show is off because it's sort of having these little dabs again at hitting all these sort of potentially big emotional, societal topics.
Yeah.
Homer's dissatisfaction with his life, Beer's negative consequences in the world, and Duffman sort of glamorizing.
Yeah, but in just such a light, diet, no impact way.
Yeah. It's mentioning the points rather than making a point out of them.
Like we've had Homer been forced to quit beer before in his month without, and the way that's portrayed there is really interesting. It's like the train goes past going chocolate, 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 chocolate.
Yeah.
Here it's just something. He's like, don't have beer, and that's it. One scene, he's all twitchy about it,
which makes it even shittier that they wrote it off with the placebo fucking.
Well, that's the thing.
Excuse.
I mean, another Jordan Zane corner. He didn't know what the chip did. Like, he still reacted to it.
Yeah, because until he reacted to it with like it was a shock, I assumed it was like a tracking chip. And they'd be like, oh, you've had alcohol, you're fired.
Yeah. Well, you can get that. You can get medication that makes you sick when you drink alcohol. And I think that's fine. Like, it's actually a good story point that the beer mascot has to be a sober member of society, but they didn't run with it.
It didn't even really make sense of it. It's like, you represent our brand now, and on that brand, you cannot be, vomiting or even dancing too joyfully.
or at least make it difficult for Homer.
Yeah.
It's just that one scene, and then he's like, oh, no, I'm fine.
Exactly.
I mean, really, he's a quite high-functioning alcoholic when you think about it. He would really be suffering without drinking. I think he would be, he'd have the tremors, he'd go through the whole withdrawal symptoms. And they didn't even touch on it at all.
You know what? Have a plot line where he's like, am I no fun unless I'm drunk? Is it me or the beer you all enjoy hanging out with?
That's right, because his sobriety was just kind of incidental in this story. Like, he claims that because he was sober, he had the clarity to see all beer's evils, but he didn't really.
No.
Yeah.
He took a ride on a blimp and he looked through a fucking telescope.
Yeah.
Was he not going to do that if he was drunk? I don't know.
I think it's a bit rich of him.
Yeah.
Considering he's like, oh, well, then no one should be able to drink at all. Like, fuck off. You can have a beer.
I choose what is best for all of you.
Yeah. So let's talk about the wackiness.
Oh, so many things.
Oh my.
Just going to go back just very quickly to the bear ad.
Mhm.
It was a weird kind of Yogi-esque animation. Was it supposed to be?
I
Because
assume so.
that seemed really kind of weird and wacky for them to use Yogi Bear.
Yeah, look, I think they might have been going for like a Winston Cigarettes Flintstones angle, maybe, but
Even-
look, there might be some source material that I'm unaware of.
The fact we have 3 of the greatest Simpsons minds in the world in this room and we don't know what they're going for proves it is a joke that's doesn't work or doesn't make sense.
Yeah.
I still can't get over the wackiness of the start, though. How it was just sketch after sketch after sketch
Yeah.
of bad stuff.
Yeah. Well, like, Chief Wiggum, you can't go into that donut shop. Your pants are already stretched to the max. Like, I am so bored already.
Yeah.
Holy fuck. And
I'm just gonna have one kaboom.
Uh-oh.
And the mole man thing where
Oh, he was riding the mobility scooter and the and
bikers are like, haha, you crashed, and then a train hits them.
they say bikers win again, and then a train hits them, and trains win again, and they're all dead.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's the fate bikers deserve.
Apparently, bikes versus trains is a thing.
So death was a sort of common wacky theme in this episode. There was
Yeah.
the montage in the museum, which is a shame because we mentioned some bits out of that we liked, where Homer gets the chip implanted, realize he can't drink anymore.
Yep.
Marge is doing her little speech over his groaning, and then he just sets off trying to kill himself.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Which I
Yeah.
wonder, if we're talking about the Homer as a god thing, I wonder if that was, one,
Ah.
a real pistol that he...
It did turn his face completely soot black,
Yeah.
so it fired.
Yeah. But whether it was just a blank or whether it was an actual pellet in it, I don't know.
Even then, a blank at that
Yeah.
range
Yeah.
is going to leave you deaf.
Yeah.
That's
and
right.
then the bat, he breaks it over his head. And then he's putting he's trying to cock the crossbow to
Right
shoot
into
right
his
into his
mouth.
mouth. Yeah. I reckon all of those were real.
Yeah, Homer's a god.
Yeah, put it this way. I mean, why would there even be blank shot in a prop gun?
Yeah, true.
That's for a mannequin. It's never going to fire.
That's totally like the Crow-esque.
Yeah.
Someone just put it there and didn't really forgot, you didn't want a loaded gun? My
That
bad.
is still the weirdest story.
Yeah.
So, and the other death moment. Who knows what I'm about to talk
Oh,
about?
I don't know. Could it be the T-shirt, Cannon, and Maud?
Oh, that was so bad.
All right.
God,
Oh,
yeah.
chill out, Mum. A T-shirt cannon's never killed anyone.
Yeah.
Okay,
If they'd left it there,
That
even
even if
then,
they left it there,
still
that
terrible.
felt like that they were looking at the camera. They
Yep.
felt like they were looking
Yeah,
at the
then
camera.
they fire the T-shirt guns, flies through Flanders' window. Again, that would have been enough. Knocks down the
Then-
photo of Maud.
Right in the head.
Yep.
Yeah.
And
Smashes the frame, yeah.
And then Ned straight to camera, just looks at camera like can you believe it?
What? These neighbors of mine.
Yeah.
Reminding me how my wife was tragically murdered far too early in her life,
God.
leaving our 2 young sons without a mother.
Well, at least I've got a new wife, Edna K. Oh, fucking wait.
Life is nothing but misery.
Which moment is worse for you, this one or the bit where Smithers is literally on fire and he says, "But sir, I'm flaming," and Burns looks
Burns
to the
is dead.
camera
Ooh.
and goes,
I'm going to say this is worse.
"This is worse."
Because
Yeah.
this is just so drawn out. I think we all gave the, "Oh, don't do that," when they first said, "Oh, T-shirt gun never killed
Yeah.
anyone." And then it goes on for like 4 more steps.
And you're like, no.
And like I said, it already felt like they were looking down the camera.
Yeah.
And then they went, like you said, 4 extra steps and then actually finished it by
Yeah.
looking down the fucking camera. Oh.
And at least, okay, as bad as the "Sir, I'm flaming" is, at least Burns is like, "Get the pun? Wah wah." But in this, it's like Ned's looking down the camera to go, "Get my sadness? Wah
Yeah.
wah." It's like, no, it's fucking terrible.
Remember that when my wife died?
Remember?
So, speaking of all this, and I think we've already touched on it, did this episode have heart?
No. Okay, but it did have more wackiness, which I'd care to discuss with you.
Yeah, go for it. There's nothing to talk
Yeah.
about with the heart.
So we may as well fill it with more whack. Just Maggie being just like a safe cracker savant.
Yeah.
No one knows a combination except for these, and then she just opens it.
I don't,
Hated it.
wow, I didn't even remember that this
It
episode.
was
so much
pointless and stupid.
So much of this episode flew over my head.
It was to make a joke to say what the 2 ingredients were, which I didn't even remember what
Yeah,
they were. It was like something
Yeah.
and water. In the ad, the Game of Thrones ad,
Mm.
there's like a dragon and it like sets fire to their own blimp, which crashes into their own factory. And I'm just thinking, why would you do that in an ad?
Oh, yeah, and Homer also killed someone who was driving a duff truck as well.
Yes.
More wacky death in this episode.
Yeah, well, not even that. It's like, lets the alcohol-free duff truck in, and then sends a regular alcohol-full duff just straight down that road. But that road just goes into a cliff. It's like, why do you have a stadium on a cliff?
Why does the Duff beer truck explode into like a big mushroom cloud, which then that you hear the driver like get into the explosion and scream? The other one was the crowd surfing bit, like the portion of like the Duffman thing. And it's just like 6 people take Homer into the water and he emerges back out with like a woman.
With the host, yeah.
Yeah. So this actually leads into the guest stars of this episode. So I don't watch reality television because it's fucking god-awful. And Kat Deely as a person.
She is a person. She was in Stars in Their Eyes, and then she made the move to America and hosted So You Think You Can Dance. I think she's still the host of So You Think You Can Dance.
There was actually a good bit in the So You Think You Can Dance where they got the panel of judges, and I liked how they had like the hoity-toity Miss Thoreau or whatever her name was.
Oh, yeah, like the senator plus ex-Duff girl.
Yeah, and the pal board of Daft Punk.
I hated the joke about the... Hey, now we get to say the catchphrase. Let's hear your best. Oh, yeah. And the lineup of people was tailored specifically to people who have a weird accent. Yeah. Because they had Rainier Wolfcastle, they had Willie,
Tatum.
they had Dredrick Tatum, they had Willie, they had the old Jewish guy.
Who I'm pretty sure his name is Old Jewish Guy.
Yeah. But like, it wasn't even... It was clearly you've picked those contestants just because they're going to say it funny.
Yeah. So the other guest stars of this episode, Ali Ermi apparently was in this. I don't remember seeing him.
He was in the bike bit when the mayor is on the town hall steps doing on the standing bike. And Ali Ermi is the Have a Blap guy. And he goes, hey, Duffman, how about a 21 Duff salute for our veterans? That's it.
And that's when he breaks his
Total
crotch.
waste of Ali Ermi.
It's literally one line.
And Stacey Keach was apparently in this episode as well.
Oh, is he HK?
Yeah, that is. Because he's in Hungry Hungry Homer as well. Yeah, that's right.
Okay, so he is the Duffman. Sorry, he is Mr. Duffman.
Yeah, he's the owner and proprietor or whatever it is. Anyway, so those are the guest stars. Musical moments. There was a typical montage of Get the Party Started by Pink, and they were getting the party started.
Mm-hmm. They were coming up.
Yeah, out of all the pop stars, I think Pink is one of my favorites, but this song is just so trite at this point, and the montage of the party duff was so trite. Did not care for it.
No.
But PT, what would you change about this episode? Can it be saved?
No, saved is a tough question. Can it be functional in society once more? Perhaps.
Can it be rehabilitated, Pete?
Can its parts be harvested and added to those who need them more? Yes.
Yeah.
Look, just give it a point. Is really, either have Homer take up this crusade or have him just enjoy the role and have a weird ride. Have the old Duffman out of commission permanently, or have him maybe become Homer's mentor or maybe his rival. Just do something. But there's all just noise and silence, and then it's over.
Jordan, what would you change about this episode to save it?
Well, I mean, look, you got to get rid of that T-shirt cannon bit.
Oh, yeah.
For starters, you just got to get rid of it. There's no way to save that joke. You just do not do it. Like the Troy McClure joke, you just don't do it.
Yeah.
And maybe like what I was saying, like it's similar, piggybacking on what you were saying, like, have it so that there is like a reason or like have the old Duffman like wanting to get his job back or something, or like, because they do say like, men like to buy beer, have beer sold to them from people they think they look better than.
Yeah.
Say, well, okay, well, make that the reason why they're getting rid of Duffman, not that he's injured himself.
Yeah, it makes total sense.
Saying like, hey, like,
you're too fit.
Sales are down. Yeah, we need to get rid of you. And him like desperately trying to get his job back.
I'd be okay with that, yeah.
Yeah, I think I'm going to just echo your points in that this episode just didn't have a solid foundation. That is exactly what it needed. Duffman is a one-note character, and this could have been an opportunity to flesh him out, but he was once again reduced to one-note Duffman when we could have learnt more about Barry Huffman.
Yeah. He seemed like a nice guy.
Yeah.
You got to appreciate someone who has total passion for any job you put them in.
Yeah. And can use the word pince nez in a sentence.
I can't even say the word.
It's like I traded my beer goggles for the pince nez of caffeine, which are those little
that's
glasses that you like perch on the tip of your nose.
Yeah. BT, any other notes?
I have notes. I don't know what they mean.
Go, try it out.
I have decision-bomb and circle-go reverse.
Circle. Oh, that was when he was in the car.
Oh, fuck. I forgot about
And
this.
he kept going like, "Oh, so long, suckers," and then going around the
Oh.
circle.
Trying to drive away from the angry stock car
Do you
fans,
get
just
it?
going in a circle.
It's a joke about NASCAR, how they race on like a circular track.
And he only needed to do it once. Like the visual of like him with getaway music, he's getting away. Oh wait, it's NASCAR. He's back at the start.
Yeah.
And then they maul him, but
Then Bart and Lisa go, "I don't know how many times we can keep watching this, like Dad driving around in a circle. Like, really? How many times do we have to watch it?"
oh, mowing, there's nothing to do. Wait a second, what about reverse? Of course.
There was a bit about that where the guy rolls up a newspaper and starts setting it on fire.
Yeah.
Like, he doesn't chuck it in the car. It's just he
Yeah.
disappears.
I was waiting because I saw there was a background. Like, okay, what's going on? And then nothing. My other question is, why are Rainier, Wolfcastle, and Drederick Tatum part of Who Wants to Be a Duffman? Aren't they doing well for themselves
Because they
enough?
needed to be stupid voices. Oh,
Yeah.
then again, they were on Moe's Wall of
yeah,
Has-Beens.
at the end.
Yeah.
Yeah. I didn't mind the wall of has-beens and the
Wall
wall
of
of
never
never-wasses.
Yeah, and I like there's a joke. It just, yeah.
Oh, and Charlie's appearance in this episode. I think that's like the
Yeah.
third time we've heard him talk.
Yeah.
And I don't know. I think we've heard him talk in previous episodes. That's not his voice,
yeah,
right?
yeah.
No, I
can
don't think
go.
so.
Jordan, do you have any other notes?
Oh, look, I have a couple of like little one-liner jokes that I didn't mind.
Yeah.
One was the Duffman, like when he gets injured, he goes, "Someone help Barry." He goes, "Never use my mortal name." Like,
Okay, I dug that, yeah.
There was a bit with Ken Brockman, I think, talking about Duffman for like, 30 seconds. And he goes, "Also, China landed on Mars today. Also, no more elephants." And then they just cut away. And it was like, yeah.
No, they don't just cut away. They now back to more crisp,
Yeah,
refreshing news. And it
that's
has a
right.
Duff logo, insinuating they've just been bought out or something.
Yeah.
Oh, I didn't mind. Check him if he's got a tattoo. It's like, he just has one that says Marge Madness. Like,
I dug March
Yeah.
March Madness.
I can see Homer getting that
I might
tattoo.
get a tattoo of that myself.
Yeah,
Yeah.
and Marge's follow-up line of like, when you sign up for these shows, you don't realize they're going to check everything.
Yeah.
It's like,
There's really no more privacy.
Yeah.
I'm going to say, Homer and Marge was actually on point in this episode when
Yeah.
he sees Marge with the beer on her lips. And I even liked her, God, you're actually selling me on the beer right
Yeah.
now. And then she takes a sip of the beer, she's got the foamy lips, and then Homer like can't resist it. Oh, foamy Marge.
Yeah. It's like, I was licking my wife.
That's right. Oh, and when he's in the Duff competition and they're pouring the beer.
Yeah, and he makes it into a Marge
Yeah.
head, and she's really. Yeah.
So,
I mean,
no.
sounds like it would be a terrible beer to try and drink.
a lot of
Yeah.
But it was a good, skill.
We've just seen a lot of jerk-ass Homer to Marge lately, and this is actually just really
very
refreshing.
refreshing, yeah.
And
As refreshing as that smooth stuff. Oh, yeah.
and
Duffman?
the last little joke that I kind of liked was, I know it's dumb, and you probably hate it, but it was the bit where he was going a bit stir crazy,
Yeah.
finding out that he cannot drink. He goes, "You wouldn't tell Batman he couldn't eat bats."
That's right.
Yeah. Oh, there was Fruit Batman. Fruit Batman was there.
Yeah,
Yeah.
have you seen that episode
I
yet?
haven't seen it, but I heard you guys talk about it, and it was like, yeah, it was an okay episode. But I'm like, was it worth the callback for you guys?
It was done in a very hackneyed way where Burns was in the crowd. Do you want your sidekick Fruit Batman? And it was also in this season 26, so it also felt really sort of, I don't know, an unnecessary callback.
Yeah.
Like,
He hadn't earned it yet.
and Smithers, the Sourpuss Kid, and
Was that what he was called in that episode?
No, but
I don't think so. No.
Okay.
That's your notes?
Just a couple of jokes I didn't like. Oh, Lisa, you had to ride the girliest bike, and then Milhouse has to ride by playing a harp with like streamers hanging off.
Yeah.
I stand corrected. Shut up, Bart. Shut your whore mouth. Anyway,
Yeah.
sorry.
Well, that's okay, because that section leads perfectly into my quick fire notes.
Pew, 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 pew.
All right. If you were an Irish person, you'd be Rick O'Shea.
That's racist.
I'm Irish. I can
Yeah,
say
I was
that.
about to say. Only I can say that.
What do you think the O stands for in O'Neill?
Yeah. Of
Ireland.
Oi, get over here.
I'm from Ireland.
Oh yeah, come here a minute.
Oh, look at that. I'm Irish.
Yeah. Come here a minute. All right, my quick fire notes. Okay, at the start where... Okay, I like the gag of Sideshow Mel riding on a unicycle to Flanders on the tandem bike.
Yeah. But why was Lenny on like a penny farthing?
I can dig that.
Yeah.
But the thing I didn't like was just Homer driving by and going, stupid bike Flanders.
Yeah.
Just incredibly lazy.
Yep.
I liked how Marge was doing the ironing with 2 ironing boards, ironing the ironing board covers. That's such a Marge.
And then took the other ironing board off to iron that cover on the other ironing board. Yeah.
Oh, my notebook just split.
Oh, no. Good.
These guys appreciate the man's love of a notebook.
Yeah, you've had that for so long.
Yeah, since episode 30-something, actually.
Oh, no.
Oh, that's right. Sheridan stole my first page. She even says so in this page here, where she goes, "Dear Elliot, stole your notebook's virginity."
Oh.
Oh, holy shit, that just fell right out.
No, you're going to have to super glue the shit out of that.
You've got super glue in your D&D kit?
Fucking yeah, I do.
What kind of a DM do I take you for?
You got some...
I also have nail polish remover if you get glued to anything.
Oh.
I keep getting ink on my thumb from playing with my notebook, so maybe
Can't help
that's
you
it.
with that.
I liked how the guy who actually won the thing was just referred to as contestant number 12.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Also, he had the body for Duffman.
Oh yeah.
Like,
Oh, yeah.
Oh, yeah.
He looked pretty much exactly like it. So I was like, yeah, you can see why they would pick him over Homer.
Yeah, they did this big extended joke with the secret ingredient to Duff, and it turns out to be Schlitz and water. I
That was
actually
it.
think they did this joke better in a previous episode. I think it was in The Name of the Grandfather, where they go to the Guinness factory and they see the secret recipe for Guinness was chocolate syrup and bog water, which, yeah, it's the same construct and a much better joke.
Was it Schlitz and Water or Schlitz and Canadian Rain?
Fucking Canadian Rain. They did a callback to the 7-pack Duff can, which is just
Yeah.
a joke I like. I like the idea that a corporation will put out this thing that's like perceptively like more value, but just impossible to stack on
Yeah,
shelves.
I was about to say it's the 5-bladed razor
Yeah.
of drinks. Like when 7 isn't just enough, you need a 9-pack.
Yeah.
And you see them like holding it. It's got like just like bits just sticking out
out, yeah.
everywhere. Yeah.
Dug that. I've seen the dark side to beer. Oh, you mean Duff Stout?
Yeah.
That was a joke that made me go, huh, highbrow. Even
I'm
though.
gonna say mid-brow.
What'd you guys think of the therapist joke?
That was a therapist joke.
Oh, with Lisa and her imaginary
Oh,
therapist.
just sad. Just sad.
Yeah, because I think Lisa would be so emotionally stunted, I feel, living with that family.
They even say that in the episode as well. How many more times can we go through this thing?
Yeah, but yeah, that for her to then continue, like,
Yeah.
why is Lisa just talking to the thing like, oh, see you next Tuesday, oh, you're in Maui, like,
Yeah.
oh, don't keep doing it. Just please, just do it as a one-shot if you have to, but it's really quite sad.
And in the same scene, this is when like the mob are descending on Homer's Duffman after coming out against alcohol, whatever, and they rip his uniform apart, or he catches fire or whatever, I don't remember.
Yeah.
I like the visual joke of them doing like the car pit stop thing, but
Yeah.
reassembling his.
And then the guy with the air, because it seems like really tight, and they have the guy with the air gun, and it suddenly like expands all over his gut. I didn't
Yeah.
mind that. Yeah.
But this is all happening in this scene where there's an angry mob, but they're not descending on him. Why are they showing restraint?
Maybe they respect HK Duff so
Yeah.
much that they're like, hey, this man wants to talk to this idiot, so we better just let him.
So the explanation of this moment sucked, but there were a couple of good visual things like that thing, and then there was also the car that comes flying at Homer, and then it just turns into being a car toy. Nice little
Yeah.
perspective
Yeah.
joke. I dig that. Finally, my final note is, despite this shitty episode, they ended with a really sweet note of doing a tribute to Sam Simon, who
Yeah.
you can guess this was around the time that he passed away. Rest in peace, Sam Simon. And yeah, he was just talking about if you make art from a pure place and, you know, make something that you personally enjoy, you know, that's sort of the greatest thing in life. And it was odd at the end of this episode, but it was
at the end of a very lackluster episode.
Yeah.
I feel like they were like, damn, I wish we could write a really good episode so that we could properly honor this man.
We can't. We suck.
yeah. And I think, look, Sam Simon is actually a bigger conversation than right now, but like he did leave around season 4 because he didn't like the direction that the show was taking, and he found it was just going too surreal and everything, so he left. But
Wow, in season 4 he thought it was too much.
yeah, and yeah, he just went on his life doing a lot for animal charities, really big on Sea Shepherd and all that sort of stuff, and was married to Jennifer Tilly, and I think
Oh.
they sort of got back together in the last few years of his life. Like, he's sort of a really interesting guy. I recommend the WTF interview on Mark Maron that he did.
Yep.
Yeah, if you want to find out a bit more about Sam Simons, fascinating guy. Guys, I think it is time to rank this thing!
Oh, yeah.
On the Simpsons Index, we rank using our 6-point scale, which starts down the bottom at failure. But maybe if the episode was meh, you give it participant. But if the episode was good, bronze, great, silver, excellent, gold, but for the best of the very best, the one that make you feel drunk, even though you haven't had any sweet, refreshing duff. You call those episodes cubic zirconia, and I'm going to go first. Let me show you how it's done. Look, this is one of those theoretical things where theoretically I think it's a participant, but I'm failing it because the moments that brought me down weren't equalized by the moments that brought me up. There were, a couple of chuckles. I like the Marge moment, but that's sort of like, that should be the baseline. That's not like what anyway, I hate this episode and I do not want to watch it again. I want to burn it. Beach, what do you think?
I'm at a participant, except for that T-shirt Canon Maud bit, which is just so awful.
Yeah.
I'm just wondering if that's enough of an anchor to drag it down to the depths. I'm gonna give it a participant because I feel like I'm gonna forget this one entirely tomorrow. I'll remember that one terrible bit maybe, but the rest of it is just gonna become just white noise.
Yeah.
And so it deserves to just fade into obscurity of participant.
Fair enough. Jordan, round us off.
I feel like if it didn't have a couple of jokes that I kind of liked, it would be an easy failure. But I feel like also if it didn't have the Maud bit, it would probably be an easy participant.
Yeah.
So I'm stuck in this limbo.
It is touching the void.
Where it's got some things that I really detest. And some bits that I actually were like, well, that's actually pretty decent for a season 26 episode. God, so what? It's the difference between like a dull participant or a shiny failure. Which one do I? Sounds worse.
6 and none, man.
Yeah. You know what? I really hate that Maud bit, but I think I'm going to give it a participant.
All right.
It's on the very low end of that spectrum, but boy, is it dangling.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
It is dangling like a turd that just won't accept its fate. Go in the bowl, damn it.
It's like hanging on by like a hair that you ate in your sleep somehow.
No, I ate the hair from the soup from the restaurant because I'm too awkward to complain.
Okay. Oh dear. What have we become?
Men who do not return soup.
I've always been that guy, yeah.
All right, well, overall, this will be a dull participant all around. This will be joining such episodes as The Blunder Years, which we covered in HD Wasteland, Break My Wife Please, Don't Fear the Roofer, $1 Million AB, Boys of Bummer, also Teenage Wasteland, Jordan, Eternal Moonshine of the Simpsons Mine, this is another one of those. Pennywise Guys, we also did that together.
Yeah.
The Steve Carell one, Havana Wild Weekend, this is...
In those depths, in that bog.
Yeah, this is such a boring, torturous playlist. I mean, at least in comparison to the failures, like the actual hardcore... given the index finger failures, like and subscribe pods in the Kia Springfield.
Because those ones make you, like, feel something.
They're a hate watch, you know?
Yeah, exactly. Like, I kind of, like, all the ones that I've heard you guys talk about that are failures, like the Love is in the Air and the Lisa Goes Gaga, like, I really, or the Voodoo one, I really want to watch them because they sound so bad and I want to join in.
I kind of, I mean, it might have to be a bit later. Maybe when we hit like 200 or 300.
Yeah.
But do like a showdown of like 3 of the worst.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Because otherwise, this playlist would be like, I don't know, something you'd show in Guantanamo or something to just, if someone had information that you needed, this is what you would just sit and like do the Ludovic technique to them, like just keep their eyes propped open and make them watch all of them back to back.
I'm so tired.
This isn't even funny.
All right, guys. Well, that's it for the HD era tonight. We're going to go all the way back to the teens era now. We're going to season 13's The Frying Game. And we are back, and we just watched our teens episode for the evening. This was Season 13, Episode 21, The Frying Game. This was first released in May of '02, and it was written by John Swartzwelder.
Schwartzy.
In this episode, Homer buys Marge a koi pond for her birthday or anniversary or something. and then they accidentally make it a home for a local screamer pillar, who is apparently a protected animal going extinct and whatever. And so the Simpsons are tasked with looking after this thing. Of course, Homer naturally does a bad job of it, gets in trouble with the law, has to work for Meals on Wheels, and then ends up working for this old lady, Mrs. Bellamy, who gets murdered. And the rest of the episode is Marge and Homer trying to prove their innocence. Guys, what did you think?
I'm a little angry, to be perfectly honest. This is
Angry?
a little. I know this is a Schwartzwelder, but it's so sporadic and so all over the place. And I know how good and clean his work can be. I'm just confused. I don't get it. Like, I don't get how this is. This is the same man who did Homer at Bat.
Yeah, but also the same man that did Simpson Safari. He's not...
Yeah, I know. It's just that recap alone. There is like so many hard right turns, and they don't feel as hard right turns as some of the ones we've had, where it's like, wait, what the fuck are we doing now? But this one, it's still very much, okay, this is where this is going.
Yeah, well, that was something I thought, that it actually had pretty good pacing for a sort of mid-teens episode, which, yeah, of course, story-wise all over the place, but I thought it felt okay. It rolled out.
Yeah, it just depends on how you want to think about it, and sometimes when I think about it, I get angry.
How do you want to think about it, Jordan?
I'm not in love with it. Yeah, when you're doing it, I'm like, it's going to be a long recap now I think about it. When you're about to launch into it, it's going, this is going to be confusing for the listener.
Yeah, you're like, Homer's doing Meals on Wheels. I'm like, oh, fuck, we're only halfway.
No, I try to be succinct, but like sometimes with these episodes, it's like, I think back to Codependence Day, where it is actually about two things. Like, it was the Cosmic Wars, and it was also the Homer Marge drinking story. And yeah, same with this one. To me, it feels like the Bugger Pillar and then the murder mystery thing. But just starting out, BT, what's a joke that stood out to you from this episode?
Actually, the very first line I did quite like. It said, the barflies are in Moe's, and Lenny's like, well, I think that Muhammad Ali could have beat the crap out of ABS brakes.
Yeah, Muhammad Ali in his prime was better than anti-lock brakes. Like,
and then Carl chimes in, oh, no way, what about Johnny Mathis versus Diet Pepsi?
I just like it as a ridiculous, bar argument.
Yeah.
What's better?
Jordan, what was a joke, for better or worse, that stood out to you then?
The one that I did like and kind of probably made me laugh at the most was the they were describing the screamer Pella and the fact that it is sexually attracted to fire.
Oh, you picked my joke that stood out to me.
Sorry, because I just thought, yeah, that's good. Like, it again, not really. I'm like, does God want this thing to live? Like, yeah.
I honestly want to write a thesis on why it is so funny that Lisa said that it is sexually attracted to fire.
Yeah.
Like, yeah, as well as it needing constant reassurance and...
Or it will die.
Yeah. Just, it's sexual, because that's another thing that they move away from the joke so quickly that you don't have time to think about it. But while we've got time to think about it,
yes,
like, just imagine the little screamer pillar's already getting it on with another one, but then all of a sudden,
there's fire. Ooh, hey there. What's like those people have that fetish of being eaten?
Vor.
It's a thing, yeah. Well, that one's called,
Vor.
They can only do it once, poor bastards, but...
Yeah. Well, I mean... Absolutely, just people with their fetishes. Sometimes they just fly too close to the sun.
Sometimes it's flying close to the sun that's their fetish.
Yeah.
It really turns me on to be in danger.
They call it Icarusophilia. Another joke that stood out to me from the start was when Homer is revealing the koi pond to Marge.
Yeah.
And she's got that blindfold over her.
Yeah.
And she goes, oh, I want to take a peek. And you just see her little pupil coming out at the top.
Oh, yeah.
He rolls her eye back.
And they just use that subtle little...
Yeah,
like,
the sound effect that they use for him, like, touching her eyeball and rolling it back down underneath.
I think everyone's done it. Although I do actually kind of like the jokes they do make about their eyes, like when they're asleep and when they're trying to go to sleep. And I think there's even a large where, Marge, I need you to close your eyes.
Yeah.
It's just lighting up the room a little too much.
Well, that's what eyes do, as we know. We turn the lights out and they glow in the dark. BT, what was a story moment from this episode that stood out to you?
I do quite like the screamer pillar.
Yeah.
Sexually attracted to fire or not, it is like, I don't know, it's a perfect balance of kind of cute, annoying as fuck, and it's just as a plot line, like, Homer kind of doesn't really deserve anything here. He hit it by accident, but when he was reading it a story, he was clearly tired, accidentally. He didn't even kill it. He just thought he did.
Yeah.
Buried it. It was fine. You know, I feel bad for him in this one. He didn't do anything wrong. He tried his damnedest.
It makes me think that it was a stitch up from the start. You know, the koi pond manufacturers were in with
man.
MTV.
Well, this is where one of my big problems with the final reveal is that it was all a reality show. It's like, when did this kick in? Mrs. Bellamy? So they had to get them both obligated to work for her, and what if that? It's just so many questions.
Yeah, it is a bit of a cop-out ending. And it's actually funny because, and I was going to say this is the moment from the story that stood out to me as well, because a couple of years ago, South Park, in season 17, episode 4, Goth Kids 3, Dawn of the Posers, they did exactly this ending.
Oh, really? That's all a reality show.
Yeah, they had this massive plot line where, like, goth kids were turning into emo kids.
That's right, I remember that one.
Yeah, and then there was something about a talking plant telling someone else to do so, and it turned out to be a big stitch-up, and it was such a cop-out. And it felt especially weak for South Park, and then, on the internet the very next day, everyone was like, hey, South Park. South Park. Hey, South Park.
Yes.
Simpsons did it.
We know.
So anyway, that stood out to me. Jordan, what's a moment from the story that stood out to you?
Yeah, well, I was going to say that kind of twist reveal at the end, but I think it's the whole court part of the thing. I think it could have gone in a completely different direction after they both end up being kind of indentured servants. And I don't know what. I haven't gotten to that part of thinking about how would I rewrite it. But I think the part where it went to, them suddenly just being like, oh, they've obviously been framed, and then they just get sentenced to death out of the blue, and it just seemed really rushed. And I mean, no procedures were being followed at all. That I didn't like that bit. Yeah,
the courtroom is definitely like, oh, so this is where we're going with this. All right, this wasn't going to be like a wacky escape kind of story. We're like, oh, we're going to trial, and okay, this is what we're doing now.
Yeah, which actually for me, just thinking about it, might be a benefit of having seen this episode a few times. Like, I could imagine, I don't even remember the first time I saw it, but I could imagine having that ending dropped on you is just like, oh, what the fuck?
Yeah.
Just jumping ahead, actually, play count. How many times before tonight have you seen this episode?
I will say 4.
I don't think I had.
Oh,
I don't
really?
think I had seen it before. Yeah, so that's why I was kind of like looking at it with, I guess, fresh eyes.
Yeah.
Going, that Larry David gif of like, I guess, like, okay.
Yeah. Well, yeah, I've seen it I'd say 20 or 30 maybe.
Okay.
Because I quite like season 13. But, so ultimately though, did it feel like an episode of The Simpsons?
No. To me, it kind of felt like the turns in the story and where it ended up just before the reveal almost felt like a Treehouse episode. Like, it had that feel of like, we're going to real extremes and we're going to rush through this whole court thing to make it like, we're going to do like a big electrocution, death by.
Yeah.
Yeah, it didn't feel like a normal canon Simpsons kind of ride, I guess.
No, I think you bring up a good point that it went to such an extreme ending that it was actually too hard for them to get out of it without anything except for a cop-out ending.
Yeah.
A little bit, but don't then go back and rewrite it.
Yeah.
Like,
well, maybe it's one of these things where they had the guest actors booked and they just, let's work around that.
Maybe they're just like, oh my God, my delete key fell off.
They were just like, oh shit, the episode comes out in 2 days. We've already recorded all the other audio. We've only got 2 days.
I think it feels enough like an episode of The Simpsons.
The characters... Homer is like himself. Marge is a little, I don't know, she seems a bit ungrateful, especially.
That very beginning where she's like, the koi pond, I love it. I can finally hear my own thoughts. How much money did he piss away on this?
Yeah,
I really liked that scene,
it is very unexpected, but at the same, when you think about it, and that's what we're doing here, we're stopping and thinking about it, it's like, it's kind of a dick move there, Marge. You actually...
Also, but she'd never say it aloud.
Yeah, you never say it aloud, but considering how unthoughtful Homer's other presents have been...
Yeah.
Then this actually seems like, it is a nice... He's like, here, have some tranquil time to yourself, honey.
Yeah.
And also, I don't know. I mean, maybe it is. Yeah, you're right, because she wouldn't ever say that out loud, but it doesn't seem like a word that I would ever hear out of Marge. Like,
imagine that, though, if internal Marge is just like, fuck that stupid fucking Homer motherfucker, I'm going to kill him in his sleep.
I don't know if I like that version of Marge, though. I kind of like her being the sweet...
Under her hair is just all embolisms from repressing rage.
Yeah. I feel it cheapens Marge a little to kind of make her seem like, you know, this...
I like, because we've had the occasional moment where it does just prove how innocent Marge is when she's just, I'm trying to think of a good example.
Lisa, I am nice.
Yeah, exactly. Which I genuinely think is like, she's like, you think I'm not nice to people?
Yeah.
Of course I'm nice. Not kind of getting the subtext.
Well, I was going to say even just later in the episode where she's like, you've been through my dainties, my silkies, and not to mention my unmentionables.
Yeah, exactly.
Like, you know, because she's not going to say underwear.
No, of course not. These are police officers.
Yeah, she's going to euphemize the shit out of that.
Yeah.
Yeah, so for then to her, like, to think, you know, how much money did he piss away on this? It was like, oh, okay, that's a bit...
You've just made me think of a reoccurring joke that I like in The Simpsons where Marge makes lists with absurd words, like when she's no hootenannies, no shindigs, no box socials.
But it looks so good on that penny farthing.
Yeah, so feeling like an episode still. I think Homer was on point, and I guess the only thing, you know, in terms of the story, it was like, I just feel like it should have been mentioned that he could fill out his community service hours by working for Mrs. Bellamy.
I think that was implied. But,
Yeah.
Well, it was
That's
almost
true.
like he didn't know. It was like he
No,
was still had to do his meal job.
Yeah.
Because there's that bit where he comes in and he's so tired,
Yeah.
and she calls him and he's like, "Oh, fine, I got to go back." It seems like that's outside of his.
Why the fuck did we even go through Meals on Wheels? Why was looking after her not just immediately his community service and we saved some fucking time?
Yeah.
Well, she looks pretty rich.
Maybe she's still applied. I don't know.
Yeah, maybe.
Yeah.
Maybe it's all for show and she's secretly bankrupt.
Well, there were a couple of Welton Wheels jokes that I liked, like the whole cobbler thing with the old Jewish man.
Yeah, that was good.
Didn't this thing used to come with a cobbler?
Yeah, they
Oh.
discontinued the cobbler.
You smell like cobbler.
Now let's not start into who smells like what.
Isn't he supposed to be in the retirement castle?
Wasn't he?
No, that was
No,
in his
it was
home.
his own house. That's why he was getting Meals on Wheels.
Oh, okay. All right, let's talk about the wackiness of this episode. So Screamer Pillars aside.
Yeah, the entire third act.
Yeah.
Yep. Absolutely.
Although the wackiness I loved, which is when Homer's leaving, he's like, past Mr. Burns, just, cover for me. Mr. Burns just sits down, puts his feet up, starts eating a donut, and then Carl walks, he's like, ooh, press buttons.
Yeah.
Goes back to relaxing. Lenny walks, ooh, push more buttons.
I like how Mr. Burns forgets that he's
Yeah.
the boss, and like all the others are like, "Oh my God, it's Mr. Burns!" and he's like, "Oh my God, it's the boss!" It's like,
But
Mr.
yeah.
Burns.
But yeah, he's just in a moment of dementia there where his brain reset and it's like, oh, okay, I better get to work.
Yeah, well, I better cover for this fellow. He's asked me to.
Yeah.
Just like pushing random buttons.
Yeah.
I guess that the most wacky part of the whole episode is the EPA guy emerging out of hammer space, like behind the tree. That's what they call that, by the way. Like
Why hammer?
because I think it's from like pulling out a hammer or something.
Okay. I
But-
assumed it was, physicist MC Hammer came up with it.
But it's the same thing for when you see someone hiding behind a
Yeah.
single pole or whatever, or emerging out. So yeah,
I
hammer
thought it was
space. There you
zero
go.
space, but I like hammer space.
Yeah.
Yeah, stop. Hammer space.
That was quite wacky that he was just waiting,
Yeah.
which makes you think he probably planted it there.
Yeah.
How far does this reality show go?
Yeah. But the interesting thing is, it's actually a really common occurrence. I think Penn and Teller did a bullshit episode about it,
Mm-hmm.
where they were talking about the laws that they've made to kind of protect animals
Mhm.
often actually get them killed a lot more often, because a
Yeah.
farmer is like, if he sees a rare butterfly or like a native animal or something on his property, if he tells anyone about it, they're going to we're taking back
Yeah,
this
yeah.
portion of your property. It's going to be a sanctuary, blah, 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 blah. And the more often than not, just like, I'm better off just killing it so that no one finds out.
Yeah.
And there was this huge problem, with I think all in Australia or in America as well, where, people were just like, I don't want to have this shit like on my hands. So I'm just going to kill this animal because
Yeah.
it's worse for me.
It's sexually attracted to fire. I don't need that in my life.
No, definitely. A wacky moment that stood out to me was the Green Mile reference.
Yeah, I don't really like that bit.
Neither do I. And
Especially making John Coffey a psychopath.
yeah, I don't know why it was funny to them.
Or just that he's meant to be a big, sensitive person. It's like the reverse of what they're doing in the movie. In the movie,
Yeah.
they're like, he's such a huge guy. Of course, he's a criminal and a violent man, but he's actually a big softy. In this, they're doing
Yeah.
the opposite, where they're like, from the movie, he's a big softy, so we're going to make him a violent criminal. It's like, it doesn't
No.
work for me on any
And just
level.
have him going, I'm going to kill you. Isn't it a funny line? And then doing the reference to, do you want some cornbread, Mr. Jingles? I will kill you. Like, theirs wasn't even a good impression. My impression of John Coffey is excellent.
Yeah.
Yeah, no,
And he didn't even have any magical healing powers either.
Yeah, well, what's going on, man?
Like, that would have even been a funny thing. Maybe if they were sort of walking by him and he's in his cell and he is doing the whole fucking weird flies coming out of his mouth thing, and they like just walk past him sort of Flintstones background style, maybe?
Maybe if Homer's like, John, can you help me? He's like, I don't help you, you filthy criminal.
Yeah.
I know what you did.
Yeah, so that's all it would need to be.
Or like,
he's all like, can I have some cornbread? And he's all like, no.
No, that's it. John Coffey's like, you stole my cornbread. That was for Mr. Jingles.
oh, another wacky bit was like there was quite a few like animals with really anthropomorphic traits to them. Like the Screamer Pillar is up on the judge's bench with a neck brace on, like going like.
I liked that.
Yeah. And at the end of the execution, he's like,
yeah. And then
I
also
those moments so
oh,
much.
so did I.
Those were good. And the other one was he has to go around to Mrs. Bellamy. He's like, sorry, Marge is like, you haven't even done all the jobs you're supposed to do here. You didn't even finish filling the aquarium. And there's that fish like clinging onto the edge, like no, like with the diver. Like
the scuba guy goes over. I felt that the fish's panic. That was I really quite like that scene.
Me too. Animal cruelty aside, that was kind of funny. Oh, what was the other one with Santa's little helper as he was like thrashing at the Screamer Pillar?
Yeah, Bart grabs a cat.
Yeah, just goes, here, play with this.
Oh. Another Hammer Space. You just pulled that out of nowhere.
Yeah. How about the heart of this episode? Did you guys feel bumps?
I did. I also take issue. I do like where Homer confesses to the whole thing so Marge can be free. It does undercut it a little bit when he's all like, now you do the same for me. But then he has a reaction of, no, I know you can't do that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So,
I liked the look of defeat in his face going, oh, whoops, right.
Yeah, but it kind of undermines it because it implies that he only did that so they could both be free rather than making sure. But I think the impact is still there.
But also because Marge like gives him this look like, what do you want about? And he's like, oh, yeah.
Well, I mean, it didn't even occur to me, but I think it's sort of because he took such issue with Marge feeling so upset. Like, that was like what motivated him to go.
Yeah.
He was rather casual about the whole execution thing up until that point.
I freaking love it, though, how he's just stuffing his gut.
I swear to God, Mad Magazine did it.
Yeah, they did.
Oh, really?
Yeah. I was like, I have heard this joke before. What is it? And it's like, and it was like a
little
4-panel comic. I'll have to. I will never be able to dig it up, but I'm 99% positive.
No, I've seen it. I know what you're talking about. Quick new addition to the index questionnaire. What would your final meal be?
Ooh.
Definitely like a fuckload of lobster tail.
Nice.
Like just knowing that they'd have to pay a lot for it.
Oh yeah, that's good. Yeah.
Maybe I'll just go
stuffed with caviar.
No.
So
caviar's garbage.
Yeah, I know. But
so is pate. Fuck
but
that shit.
Say that you need it. That's your last minute. So they have to spend like $1 million. You want it flown in. You want like that sturgeon. Is it sturgeon that they make that really expensive or like lumpfish caviar?
All right. So
champagne.
Yeah, my meal will be separate from the kiddie pool filled with champagne that I'll use to eat it in,
bathe in.
Yeah. Yeah. I think I'd go like massive amount of lobster tail and just macaroni and cheese.
Nice. I'm going a 6 boxes of Kung Fu Sing fortune cookies and some Diet Coke. Yeah, every fortune will be like, nope. This one watered. It says I can go free.
I would get a 4-liter bucket of pork maki from Kyushu in Neutral Bay, and then another 4-liter bucket of their teriyaki chicken.
Yeah, actually, my other alternative would just be like all the Sam Choi bao in the world.
All the Sam Choi bao in the world?
A lot of it. Just dumplings, back a truck up.
I'm afraid what you heard was a lot of Sam Choi bao.
What I
said was...
Wait, I just want to double check if Sam Choi bao is the one I'm picturing.
It's the lettuce cup.
No, fuck Sam Choi bao. I had that shit.
Oh.
I'm thinking of...
what? Oh, Chinese lettuce burritos, they're the best.
No, I'm thinking of dumplings. Sorry, my bad. What is it?
Oh, Xiaolong bao.
Xiaolong bao.
Yeah, okay.
Sorry, let me retake that. All the Xiaolong bao.
To me, Xiaolong bao just sounds like a medical condition.
I mean, I'm dying. What the fuck do I care?
But yes or no, would you watch this one again?
Yeah, I reckon I would. I don't like where it goes, so I feel like I'd start watching it and then be like,
Yeah.
Be like, yeah, it probably takes a while to be like, which one is this
yeah,
one
because
again?
it's so sporadic. I feel like I'm going to forget these parts are related.
Probably forget the twist ending and be like, how does this end again?
Like they
That's
hit
so
the screamer
weird.
pillar, and then what happens after that? That's right. Then there's the old lady. What happens to her?
Is that the one that Bart has to go do chores for? No,
yeah,
that's a
'cause
different
for a while,
one. Yeah.
For a while, I thought this was the one where they end up on the like you have to live like it's the 1800s.
Yeah.
That reality show. I'm like, no, this is
Right.
a different one. Right. What happens on this one?
I think it's because the reality show is like it's like a minute at the end.
Yeah.
There's no conclusion afterwards or anything, really.
Well, yeah, I will agree with that the story is this thing where it just keeps moving from thing to thing to thing. But like I said at the start, I actually really dug the pacing on this episode for one that was a bit more sketchy and sporadic, that I felt it was pretty well cemented every step of the way.
Yeah, it does carry through well enough that you're on for the ride.
Yeah.
I think the speed at which it goes is fine. It's more of like a crazy zigzag instead of like a straight line that makes sense.
Story must be a circle.
Well, yeah, we might watch it again. So what playlist are we going to put it in?
Court trials, reality TV.
Old lady interactions with the Simpsons. I'm thinking Mrs. Glick and what's her name from the bordello? Not the bordello.
The Maison
bordello. No.
The Maison Derriere. Yeah. Belle.
Yeah, Belle. Yep.
I'm going to put this into the playlist of people getting mad at fake doctors. Hear me out. On the last episode of The Simpsons Index, we did Grift of the Magi. On the last episode of The Simpsons Index, we did Grift of the Magi, in which there's a scene where the kids put on a play and Ralph plays Dr. Stupid.
That's right.
Hi, I'm Dr. Stupid. I gotta do surgery. Oops, I cut off your head. You're dead. And Mr. Burns goes, I never liked that Dr. Stupid. There was a moment similar to this in this one where Homer was like, oh, this little guy just needs a kindly visit from Dr. Foot.
Stop right there, Dr. Foot.
Yeah.
And that's when he appeared, the hammer space.
You could also have Burns just becoming randomly invested in things.
Yep, absolutely.
As he does in Grift of the Magi.
I was going to say Springfield judicial system episodes, wasting the court's time. Yeah.
Put this in with the grifting episode, the one with Bart and Homer grifting.
Definitely. I think there is a good Judge Snyder playlist to be made here.
Oh, Bart the Murderer as well.
Yeah.
Might put that in with that one.
And the one where he's like, I'm sorry, the clown is down.
But the clown is down.
Yeah, death penalties episodes.
Yeah.
few.
Bart the Murderer.
Yeah. Reality show episodes,
Mm-hmm.
It's not an island, it's a peninsula.
I just want to get on that boat and get out of here.
Don't have to. You can walk.
Island episodes. Because they do...
They do mention at the very end, and I have written it down. Don't worry.
Oh, wait, it is an island. Yeah.
There's No Pants Island and Fart Date.
I kind of want to watch Fart Date. I don't really love reality shows, but I think I would watch Fart Date.
But yeah, there is a semi-good reality show playlist to be made of Simpsons episodes. Guest stars of this episode, in the reality segment, it turns out that Mrs. Bellamy, played by Frances Sternhagen,
Sternhagens.
who has an impressive list of stuff, none of which I recognize her in. It turns out that the whole time she was Carmen Electra playing herself.
Yes, there's a massive plot hole because Carmen Electra can't act.
And
do accents.
Burn, Carmen! But as we know, Alyssa Milano is a big fan of this show, so if you know Carmen Electra, call her up and let her know we burned her.
And I'm some other actor that I hired.
Yeah, I enjoyed that line of the man with the braces. Yeah. There's actually a weird moment of animation here where, as Carmen Electra is turning to Police Chief Wiggin, her cleavage disappears.
Oh.
Wow.
Yeah, I'll show you the GIF later, and I'll post it up on our Twitter and Facebook pages.
What are those Twitter and Facebook pages, Elliot Jay O'Neill?
Facebook.com/The Simpsons Index, @Simpsons Index on Twitter.
You forgot http:// Ladies, you ever lost your cleavage? Right in. Let us know.
Should be like a segment on jokes that you can't do anymore. For example, Homer going, Homer, my eyes are up here. I made my decision.
That was a really shit joke to end the episode on, I gotta say.
Yeah, you couldn't do it today, I don't think.
I feel like you probably could.
Yeah.
I'm not saying it would be good. I'm saying you could do it. And
You say that, and man, how many episodes of The Simpsons have we watched right now where we're like, why did they do that? How did they do that?
Yeah.
They're doing those jokes today.
Yeah, this is very true. Oh, God.
BT, is there anything you'd change about this episode to fix it, maybe?
yeah, pretty much everything from them getting arrested for Mrs. Bellamy's murder on.
Yeah.
Yeah, just give me another plot line. This one just is, it's too many hard turns. I like the frame up, and maybe they could go on the run and be on the lam and do a bit of a
Ooh,
fugitive
yeah.
thing. Homer Marge escaping from the law.
Oh, and Bart and Lisa are like team up to do like a PI kind of thing to
Yeah.
figure out who the man with braces is.
Yeah,
Oh,
I'm on board
yeah.
with that. Come on, tell me you don't want to see that. Some more Simpsons detective work.
Yeah.
I think ever since I listened to the last episode with the
Pods in the key of Springfield.
yeah,
Yes.
like and subscribe, talks about how much fun Bart and Lisa team ups are, and they
Definitely.
weren't really in this episode at all.
No.
That would have been fun.
There's kind of an annoying throwaway line where Bart's like, "We were in the green room. I ate so many shrimp." It's like,
That was the one I was going to say that I hated.
Yeah,
That's
it's
right.
just-
Thank you for reminding me.
yeah, it's just a line that's like standing in a void and it's not connected to anything.
Yeah, it was so dumb. It felt like, gotta get up Bart's fucking word quota for this episode sort of material.
Yeah. Well, it's one of those things where I don't know if there's a term for it, but sometimes it feels like an answer to a question no one was asking. No one was like,
Yeah.
"But where did the kids come from?" They were just, I assumed they were at the execution.
Wait, I've got one for that one.
Yeah.
Just rewrite it like, I ate so many shrimp, and he pulls out like all the tails or whatever, but one is red, and then they notice that he ate the screamer pillar.
No.
And then
Here we go again.
No, but Homer's like, and they all laugh, and then their fades to black.
Now we actually have to kill you.
Yeah.
Yeah, it turns out the Screaming Pillar was played by Carmen Electra.
I don't believe it.
Because I kind of agree that the episode slumped around the Meals on Wheels, Mrs. Bellamy part. You could have cut some of that out and had a little bit more of Bart and Lisa being in part of Cletus's family, which,
Yeah.
like, I forgot that there wasn't any plot hinged on that. It was just that
Yeah,
throwaway
that one
line
bit,
of,
yeah.
your name is now Dingus Squatford Jr. and you're Pamela E. Lee.
Pamela E. Lee, terrible. But then I like the joke at the end. It was like, why don't I just like my old name? And like, you shut your mouth, Dingus. And then obviously Bart is Pamela E. Lee.
Yeah.
That's great.
Yeah, it would have been ruined had they stopped and go, "But that makes me Pamela. Ay, caramba."
Rumba.
Yeah, thank
Yeah.
God they didn't do that. But leaving it as is was funny.
Yep.
They've already done Flanders, so they had to be like,
Yeah,
who else
yeah.
ridiculous can we leave them
Although it
with?
might have been not a bad throwback. It's like, hey, we're going to do this again. Kind of a crickets kind of tumbleweed
Yeah.
moment.
Jordan, what would you change to fix this episode?
There were just kind of a couple of little like nothing jokes that probably didn't really add to any of the story. Like I'm thinking, okay, Homer gives the dating advice or whatever, and
Yep.
Mo says, "Oh, this is going to be so great for speed dating," and he goes out the door and comes back in and goes, "I got 400 no's." And I guess it's supposed to be a joke about speed dating. It's so fast, you get it? But yeah,
Yeah. I didn't like
Oh, okay, I get it now.
but
But
no. Yeah, just have more involvement. I think most of the episodes where it relies so heavily on just really one character, they tend to be it's got to be great
Mhm.
because there's just no variety otherwise.
Yeah, and if you're not into it, then you lose everything.
Yeah.
yeah, which does make me think, there was probably a bit more room for Bart and Lisa to be inserted into this story somehow. BT, any other notes?
Oh yeah, just speaking about the previous episode,
Yep.
we have an appearance of Duffman in this episode.
Hey,
Yeah.
accidental thread line.
Yep. Duffman's pension has been misused. Oh yeah. And it's like that party hardy attitude is a registered trademark of Duff Enterprise. Whatever happened to fair use?
Yeah,
Yeah, that was a good line. I didn't mind that.
because
Yeah.
I was sort of like pre-cringing, oh, what are they going to do here? But even though it was dragged out a little, I liked all of it.
Yeah.
I liked even the animation of it, like he had like slight stubble and everything, so obviously he'd been like worrying about
Yeah.
it and staying
Yeah.
up at night maybe.
But I mostly mentioned it just to say, hey, current theme. Can we bring it home?
Let's see in our next episode. We will see.
Before that, do you have any notes left, Elliot Jay O'Neill?
I'm consolidating them, so I'm going to ask Jordan. Have you got any other
There
notes?
was one line that I actually really liked as well.
Yeah.
But I think, that's gross, but it's cool. Which was when Judge Snyder is saying, "Homer Simpson, you have been found guilty of insecticide," which is great, but then also aggravated buggery.
Yeah.
And I'm like, ew. But yeah, you're trying to make a bug pun, but ew.
It was X.
Yeah, it doesn't. I do like insecticide though.
Yeah.
Yeah.
No, I don't have a problem with
Buggery?
sex buggery. Yeah. But I think, using that as the pun,
Yeah.
this is just a bit too much. I think this is maybe one of the episodes where sign writers weren't as good because there was two or three shots of that not affiliated with Death Row Records.
Yeah, and then it stopped and zoomed in and played a little music for it. Like, no, just let it hang, you idiots.
Yeah.
That was very eye-rolly. I don't know how I'm feeling about this episode. Jordan, what are some of your more notes then?
Why was Yes Man
the
guy throwing the switch?
I liked it. It's just so that they could do the whole fucking call from the governor
thing.
But
why Yes Man? Because it could have just been anyone. It would have been better with a serious voice. Oh, hey, yes, governor. No, it's not too late. Oh, I'll tell him right away. Put some more urgency so he has to turn around and then you get the reveal of the governor says fry in hell.
Yeah.
Or whatever he says. I can't remember.
I hope you're a squirmer.
Yeah.
Actually,
Twitcher.
That call could have been done with like a Stacey Keach from the last episode and he would have given it the authority. No, sir, I'll tell him right away.
Yeah. Like, give that authority rather than, oh, I'll tell him right away.
Yeah.
Like, what is that? That's stupid.
It's Yes Man. I think you're discovering that you don't like Yes Man.
I don't. I liked him once.
Yeah?
I think he's a one-note joke, and that's it. I think that's you. Yeah.
Yeah, I guess this was like season 13. He sort of got introduced 1 or 2 seasons ago, so I guess they're really milking at him at this point as well.
It's not a character anyone's like, oh my god, it's so excited, it's this guy.
Yay.
Yeah.
And the other one was like, there's that bit where Homer comes in, all the other barflies are discussing Homer, like, could he really kill someone, do you think? And Andy comes in, I could kill someone for a beer.
Yeah.
And Mo is acting really afraid. And I guess the way he's like acting really scared of Homer, I'm like, I don't really know if that's in the style of Mo or not.
I don't know. This moment was sold to me in the moment where he goes, you didn't say I'll kill you. Like, this is such a, I didn't say Simon Says. You know?
Yeah, I like that bit too.
Like, it was dragging, and then it was like, that was good. Although I didn't like how it dragged on into the church bit. And
or Mo going, oh, you just got to, drain them out. And then he starts singing the thing and covering his ears. And
working on the railroad.
We get it. We get it, Mo.
Yeah. Well, I guess it is time for my quick fire notes.
Everybody down. He's got some notes.
Again, back to the screamer pillar. Well, why don't I hear any sleep screams?
Pretty good.
I gotta say, the episode is so heavily weighted with such good material in the start that it's making me forgive the rest of it,
Yeah. The Marge coming out to like burp it. It did like a Barney burp as well.
And it just spits up on her shoulder.
Threw up all over. I like when Homer is talking to Mrs. Bellamy for the first time and then he starts showing off, and I can ride really fast on my bike.
Yeah, that was pretty good too.
Just, Homer being a child like in that Mona Simpson episode. Look at me, Mom.
Yeah.
We're not looking.
And later on he's holding a bag that says Doyley's soiled.
Yeah.
That just,
as opposed to Doyley's clean.
Yeah.
How do you clean your doilies?
And there's such a good line from Marge as well where she starts working for Mrs. Bellamy and she's like, oh, and darn my socks too. And she goes, oh, darn her socks. Oh, darn her. After I finished watching this.
Yeah.
There was a weird bit when Mrs. Bellamy had all her friends over as well, where Skinner comes out and goes, Mom, can I read a magazine in the car? And then she just lumps shit on it. I don't know. I didn't like it.
Did you do enough reading at school, bookworm?
Yeah, it did nothing for me, this line.
It's showing that they're all mean old ladies.
Yeah.
Which wasn't important to the plot.
Yeah, it wasn't. And it's just more shitting on Skinner, and I'm starting to get over this routine.
Yeah.
Homer, when he's in disbelief, is just like, what? Huh? Zuh.
Yeah, I do like he starts running out of like surprise exacerbations. He's just like, duh.
Yeah, like his face is he's like, wait, what's the other one?
What else do I have?
Yeah, that'll work. What'd you think of Police Chief Wiggums? Did you do it?
I do like a response. Does that ever work?
Yeah.
No.
Book him, Lou. I'll be out of here by dinner time.
Yeah.
It's essentially the same joke as getting Mr. Burns to cover for him, but it's just a nice little subversion.
Yeah.
Speaking of laughing, the elephant that wouldn't stop laughing was put to death. Awesome cut to news
Sad
clip
day.
without context.
Oh, that was maybe that's potentially another thread because that was in the last one as well. With also no more elephants.
Yeah,
because they all started laughing.
Yeah.
What do the elephants know? How good is this joke?
I didn't like when Homer goes, play the race card, play it.
Yeah, was Gil his lawyer?
Yeah.
I thought
Okay.
that was a good move because, Lionel Hutz is well and truly gone from the show at this point, and you can't ever do that sort of overly confident but horribly underqualified lawyer anymore.
Yeah, it's
Yeah.
just get Gil because he's probably affordable.
Yeah.
Yeah, and that was a good line of, not at this time. Well, this is the last time. It's, well, then no.
Yeah.
Or was he's like reading a book like How to Make Money in Shoe Cobbling or something.
Yeah. TV repair.
TV repair.
Lionel Hutz was
Was a
cobbling
shoe
shoes.
Yeah,
Yep.
that's what got in my head.
That'll be another episode in the Judge Snyder playlist.
Yay.
We should really stop hiring him. All right, well, I guess it is time to rank this thing. Jordan, kick it off.
I mean, my brain wants to think about it a bit more, but my gut is like, just say bronze. I think, I don't think I could go any higher than a bronze. Whether it's kind of annoying enough to go to participant, probably not. I mean, like you said, the first little bits, there's some good humor in it, and there are a few jokes dotted through. There are some that are just lazy and a bit kind of, the story is, I wouldn't watch it for the story. I'd maybe just be like, I'll watch this little bit and I'll maybe have a nap. So I think bronze is kind of where I'm landing on that.
Yeah, oh man, I came into this feeling like a silver, but just on a theoretical level, I think it should be bronze. Yeah, hearts and guts are fighting at the moment. I'm going to write down bronze and just sort of see how I feel. BT?
Yeah, okay. I've been skirting a Patissa bronze the entire time. And usually the ones that start off well but don't stick the landing, I tend to rank lower. Surprisingly enough, the guts are saying bronze on this one. So
Yeah.
even though I do have my issues with it, and I really don't like a lot of the second half plot-wise, yeah, I suppose there are some fun jokes, and I don't feel it deserves to be in the forgotten realms of participant.
Yeah.
So, yeah, surprisingly, even me, bronze.
Yeah, okay, well, if everyone's going bronze, I'm going to go bronze as well.
If we all
stay with
cubic
it.
zirconia, would you jump off a bridge?
Yeah, that
Please-
is way too high for this episode.
Please don't do it. Yeah.
All right, well, this will average out to be unanimous bronze. This will join other episodes such as The Ice Cream of Margie with light blue hair, Chief of Hearts, where Homer and Police Chief Wiggum become friends, Covercraft, where Homer's a bass player, Homer's Night Out, which we also reviewed together with the dirty picture. Ooh. When You Dish Upon a Star, which we did a couple of weeks ago, Take My Wife's Sleeves, the Hell Satan's episode. Yeah, this feels right.
Yeah, think about that. I would rather watch this one than Dish Upon a Star. So
Yeah. All right, guys. Well, that does it for the teens episode, and we are going right to the edge of the teen era, where we're going to Season 9's Homer versus the City of New York. Woohoo! And we are back. And we just watched our classic and final episode for tonight, which was Season 9, Episode 1, The City of New York versus Homer Simpson. This was first released in September of 1997, and it was written by Ian Maxtone Graham. In this episode, Barney is chosen to be the designated driver of all the barflies, and he just takes Homer's car after his duty is done and just goes on a fucking bender. Anyway, Homer discovers that Barney left his car in New York, which makes them have to go to New York, and apparently Homer had a traumatic experience with New York, so he's not that happy to go, and he doesn't have a great time while he's there, while the rest of the Simpsons family do. Guys, what did you think?
smashing.
Very good. Oh, you forgot, a.k.a. Simpsons predicted 9/11.
Simpsons did a 9/11.
Oh, yeah.
All the evidence is there, man.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, so there is that one little shot of Bart holding up the flyer that says New York, $9, and it
Has the picture of the Twin Towers there, which look like an 11. And
Yeah. Simpsons did it.
Oh, shit.
So that's unfortunate. And yeah, like I said, this was in 97, so this is 4 years before
Yeah.
the 9/11. And yeah, this episode was actually pulled after that happened.
Really?
Yeah, fair enough for a little while. I know a lot of
Yeah.
entertainment properties were pulled for various reasons. Some of them unfounded, some of them somewhat, yeah.
Yeah, well, I mean, there's ones like this where I think they just did it not because they're doing anything specifically against New York, but because
No.
so much of the plot is about the Twin Towers.
Yeah, I agree.
There were things like bits in movies. I think it was one of the Spider-Mans.
Yeah, Spider-Man 1 had a scene where he catches a falling helicopter between the two towers,
Oh.
and that got pulled.
And then there was another movie where they even it was in a establishing shot.
Mm-hmm.
They had the Twin Towers and they digitally altered them to be removed.
Yeah.
Which is like, fuck.
Well, you watch so many movies now and you see that New York skyline, which was so iconic for movies that were sort of set in New York to have at one point, definitely.
Yeah, well, interesting, like, opposite of that is the video game Deus Ex.
Yeah?
It was set in, 2026 New York. And they forgot to put the Twin Towers in. And so they went, just put in something in the backstory about it being destroyed in a terrorist attack.
Yeah.
And it was like,
Wow.
So Ion Storm did it?
Yeah.
Yeah, wow.
Richard Bachman, aka Stephen King, did it in Running Man.
Yeah.
They fly a plane
Oh, do they?
into, well, I mean, it's not, I don't think it's the Twin Towers,
he's
but it's
aiming
a
for the
control
White
tower.
House, I think, or something.
Yeah.
Yeah. There are so many of these coincidences. Like on the day of September 11th, Dream Theater released a live album, which was live in New York, which just sort of had like a flames over the
over the
city skyline,
Yep.
which happened to include the Twin Towers. And when you look at it, you go. Yeah, and of course they didn't intend for it, but yeah, it just so happens their album drops on that day.
Yeah.
Or like the night before the episode of The Lone Gunman where there's a conspiracy about this same thing.
Really?
Yeah.
Wow.
A lot of weird, lot of Fox properties.
Yeah.
Fox did it.
Rupert Murdoch, I'm looking at you. You old cantankerous fucking prune ball. He makes me so mad I can't even think of a good insult for him.
I'm really sorry you don't make enough money for Rupert Murdoch to be able to see you. So
Yeah, you got to be on 100 mil for him to care about
you literally
you.
can't even physically touch him. Like your hand will go right through him as though you don't exist.
He's literally, the world, according to Rupert Murdoch, is so bare because he only sees people with a net worth within 1% of his.
He supports Trump because he thought he was running unopposed.
Yeah.
It all makes sense now. All right. Just before we get into the episode proper, there was an interesting little fun game that we accidentally started on the last podcast with Pods in the Key of Springfield is, if you could have a sandwich named after you, what would be on it? In our website, I'm going to hide a little The Sandwich Index, which will be like a little sandwich board of all of our guests' pick for sandwiches. You know, maybe you don't know what sandwich to make yourself. Maybe you can have a Beach or a Jordan. So, Jordan, what would be on the Jordan?
When I listened to the podcast, I was thinking about it. I'm like, oh, yeah, I really love sandwiches with like beef and horseradish in them. Like, I just love horseradish in a sandwich.
Oh, yeah.
But then I was thinking about it, and I'm like, really, I have to kind of do my family name proud, which the Frost, like, sandwich of choice is a ham, cheese, cucumber, and salad cream sandwich. It has to be salad cream. It cannot be mayonnaise or aioli or anything. It's specifically Heinz salad cream.
Okay.
Because it's got kind of like a vinegary, it's got a bit of tang to it.
All
so
right.
yeah, so that's mine on like a really like soft roll.
Okay. And that is the Jordan. BT, what is the BT?
Well, as you can verify, Elliot Jay O'Neill, you asked me this question before I'd heard the episode and before you revealed the answer, and I immediately said a room with chips on it.
Yep.
And then maybe as a testament as to how Simpsons fans, Simpsons podcasters, or maybe just the Pods in the Key of Springfield guys really should just be our friends,
Yeah.
said the exact same thing.
Did.
So, in the absence of being able to have chips on a Reuben, I'm going to say get me some pumpkin seed and grain bread, keep your mayonnaise on that, and then put in a slice of pepperoni pizza.
Oh God,
I dig it.
so much bread.
Depending on how you do it, man. And just to reiterate, my sandwich is George from Seinfeld. He has that thing that's just stacked with salami and pastrami. I'm going to have one of those, but maybe with some slices of Gouda cheese and some nice seeded mustard. Because, I mean, despite my catchphrase, I'm actually not that big on mustard, but I do like me some seeded mustard.
That's why there's none in the house.
Yeah, that's it. Yeah,
And yeah, mix that in with some garlic aioli.
You've just reminded me. I kind of almost, in a sick way, want to try the Mitch Hedberg sandwich, which is just pastrami, banana bread, cottage cheese. Like, I just want to try that.
I'm curious, yeah.
We may have to make it for an index one day.
Okay.
Yeah.
Actually, yeah, that's an index dinner once. We'll make all these sandwiches and
The
and try
sandwich index.
try each other. Back to the episode. BT, what's a joke from this episode that stood out to you?
Oh, man.
Yep.
So many. Again, sign writers are right on point. I'll get to that in a sec, though.
Oh, yeah.
I did write down, does crab juice alone make this a cubic zirconia? I'm going to start with the very first couple of jokes, which is where they're at Moe's. He's like, well, fellas, turns out that 95% of the traffic accidents are caused by you guys. They're like, it's like, yeah, good on you. But no, seriously.
Yeah.
And then it's like, when they're trying to figure out who's going to be designated for the night, they're like, well, we'll do this the same way they pick the Pope. Everyone picks out a pickled egg. Whoever gets the black one is the Pope.
I was thinking about it, like, well, they do burn like white and black smoke to
Yeah.
signify how they do pick the Pope. We don't know what goes on in there, so
I assume it's just a massive kegger and someone's Peter Pantsless.
yes.
Definitely. Jordan, what's a joke from this episode that stood out to you?
I'll tell you the joke that stood out to me is the one that I think potentially it might be my most ever quoted Simpson thing.
Wow.
I just really love the quote of when Homer is like rushing into the elevator and throws that like old rich lady out and she goes,
I wrote her as Why I Never Woman.
yeah. She's like, how frightfully rude. I certainly hope someone stabs him in the eye, which I've used so many times. I'm like, where is that from? Like, what episode is it? This I couldn't even remember at one stage if it was from The Simpsons.
Yeah.
But yeah, just having used that, that's always when I'm like, oh, God, I love that line so much.
Yeah. It's so delightfully specific.
Yeah.
Yeah, a joke that stood out to me, and I don't know that I've ever absorbed this before, that when Homer's talking about his bad experience with New York and then he falls down a manhole and then he goes, and then the chuds descended on me or something. And then what does Marge say?
Marge says, well, of course you have a bad experience if you just focus on the pimps and the chuds.
Yeah.
That was just such an excellent...
Chuds, Morlocks, mole people.
that was that, but so good. BT, what's a story moment that stood to you?
So you got the kind of the through line for Homer's story in the car, and then it's not exactly a B plot where Marge and the kids are around the city, but it's kind of like just a random peppering of jokes.
Yeah.
I just really love Homer's entire bit, though. His whole straining to reach pizza with the cart. He picks up a twig, and almost there.
And then he just like snaps his back.
But the when he's just reaching with his hand, the camera like does
Yeah.
that thing with the dolly in but the zoom out, so it still looks like it's getting closer, but
they
it's
do
not moving.
like the wide top angle shot where you can just see how ridiculously far it is.
Yeah.
He's about 50 meters away.
But no, I really like, because Homer just gets shat on so much this episode.
Oh,
you feel
yeah.
bad for the guy.
Very cursed.
Cast. But yeah, I think all the Homer stuff and just his reason for hating New York is solidified. He's got a reason to never want to go back there.
Yeah, it's actually funny that this episode gets to have its cake and eat it too in that way, in that they can have this random assortment of New York jokes because the family are going out and experiencing it. And then you still have to get this thing of also saying, hey, New York can be shit sometimes.
Especially to Homer.
Yeah.
It's like a supernatural, literal, like anything that can go wrong for him will go wrong.
Absolutely. Jordan, what's a moment from the story that stood out to you?
You know what? I've forgotten about how they get to New York in the first place. And upon watching it, I'm like, yeah, you know what? I really love when the like starts and you see Barney's face just go, no, not tonight. Yeah. And the whole point of Barney, like, you don't think of him as a man with an iron will of any sort. No. He's so just like, fuck it, I'll drink whatever. But he gets through the whole night, and you can see he's twitching, and I don't know why he thinks he like has to. Especially you think like, oh no, fuck it. Sorry guys, I know I said I would do it, but the Duffman is here tonight
with a bottomless keg.
And this was an amazing through line that I did not intend, is that not only does this episode also have Duffman in it, this is his first appearance.
Yeah, I really like Lenny introducing us. Hey, it's Duffman. He creates awareness of Duff.
Yeah.
We get his intro and like what he's there for, and then we get him like suing the company that he works for, and then like him getting injured because he's probably pretty old by this stage and his hips are getting thing, and how he can't transition into like a real job.
We have seen a reverse progression of Duffman.
Yeah.
I just like that we actually get to see him use his beer bandolier on his belt and like hand out beers.
Yeah,
also, right. And I also did write down, good on Barney. He held out.
Yeah.
It was tough. He was cracking, but he held out. Good.
Yeah. You can tell at that moment that he had the will to get through it, that his brain just shut down and he just got through the experience and, dropped everyone home and...
Just slide it under the door.
I love that line.
Tomorrow.
I also love Barney's line in that section of... Because what does Homer say? No, it's my car and we're going to the lost
City of Gold.
Oh, gold. Okay. That's just drunk
Not even
talk.
a role player.
Sweet,
beautiful
drunk talk. So beautiful. So, play count. How many times before tonight do you think you've seen this episode?
God, it's got to be 20, 30 plus.
BT?
I would say 911.
Wow, what a weird random number for you to pull out
Yes,
of
I'm
you.
not trying to inform anyone of anything.
Beach did 11.9.
Oh, 9, you're 11.
What are you, like 11?
Oh, we're terrible people.
Mm-hmm.
Thank God we hang out together. Safety in numbers.
And don't broadcast to... play count. How many times? Yeah, I've seen this a whole bunch. This is right at the end of my Simpsons peak watching, I'd say, before I moved into high school and got, way too cool. And then I got into my 20s and I got boring again.
Don't lie, Elliot. You were always cool.
Oh, Jordan. So, any impact and things that have stuck with you from this episode over the years?
No ball, his stick.
Oh, yeah, the clap collage is...
Yeah, let's
obviously-
talk about Clav Kalash a minute. How many times have we fucking quoted this over the years?
Endlessly.
And the ultimate burn on Mountain Dew. Like, nothing... I want to come up with a better joke against Mountain Dew than this episode.
Yeah, and I'm assuming sales of crab juice went right the fuck up after
I
this.
really want to know if there's such a thing as crab juice. I bet someone has like made it as like a joke, but I wonder if there's like in some part of the world you can buy like crab juice.
Yeah, and a nice stick of crab collage.
Well, potentially in New York, I guess.
Maybe.
But yeah, I like it how Homer sort of like sees this guy and tries to get him to buy him pizza first.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, it was Famous Ray's original famous pizza.
I wonder if this is based on a real thing. Or maybe we should have looked this up first.
I feel like it's just off of, you're in New York and sometimes they're like hot dogs, pizza, thing you've never heard of before that smells kind of weird, but also kind of nice.
Yeah, like all those gyro trucks that we saw when we were there. Like,
there's those the halal guys as well.
Yeah.
So I think it's just supposed to be like street meat.
yeah.
Street meat. There we go.
It might just be an evolution thing, because since this episode, like we went last year, the street meat trucks that they've got now are fucking amazing. Like, they've got crazy, awesome neon signage that changes colors and has like a man dancing.
Well, when did this one come out?
97.
97, because I know, mid-90s, New York was a very different place.
Yeah.
So I know Giuliani did a lot to turn it around, so...
Well, I was about to say, when they have that billboard sign of like, crime up 8 million % or whatever in Homer's thing,
Homer's
like, because there
flashback.
was a huge like, oh my God, prepare for this crime epidemic in like the mid 90s, and then it just like went away, which, like the Freakonomics guys argue was when, because of the 20 years after abortion was made legal. But there was this huge thing about like, everyone was basically battening down the hatches because there was going to be this everything you loved was going to be
burned and destroyed.
and looted and
stabbed in the eye.
It's so big, actually. You think about it, it's like, oh yeah, it's an island, but like we walked from, I think, like midway down to the World Trade Center was, and that took like I mean, we were window shopping along the way, but it's like, holy shit, Manhattan Island is like way bigger than what you kind of picture, because
I found it weird though that it also seems so closely connected for like how distant like shows make it feel. Like the one parallel I draw with Marvel's Daredevil, where they say it's all about Hell's Kitchen, and we got to bring up Hell's Kitchen, and it's like this fucking 3-block thing in the middle of Manhattan, and it's like you walk past it when you go down to see Hamilton.
Or like Chinatown or Little Italy or whatever, and it's like, oh, it's just like couple of blocks. Oh, okay, never mind. That's cool.
I love that joke in this. Where are we now? Little Italy? Oh no, we're in Little Chinatown. Huh, only in New York.
There was a good little sign gag there where it was like Yinhua's Oldie Tavern.
Yeah, I did like that.
Dig it.
Converse to that joke as well, when Marge and Lisa are like, just meet us at Central Park at 5 p.m. I'm like, you're never going to fucking find him. Like, Central Park is massive.
It is. That's the other weird thing about New York. It's this whole giant built-out city, but then Central Park is this lovely oasis in the middle of it. Where,
I love that.
yeah, you get dead enough in the center of it, you forget that there's massive bustling city around you.
And considering the billions that land would be worth,
Oh yeah.
it's very cool they've said, no, this is going to be park.
Yeah, like you go, well, it can't be that big. Like, there's a freaking zoo in it, and that's like maybe 1% of the park. Like, yeah.
Yeah. No, New York is an awesomely magical place, and I can't wait to be back there next week, actually.
Wow.
I'll be in New York.
By the time this episode comes up...
Concrete Jungle Where Dreams Are Made Of?
Oh, yeah, you got it.
I was actually in my head for most of the time. It was either that or New York.
Or My Shot.
Yeah. Especially when we were drunk.
Yeah.
But just on, good background signs. There were in Springfield, there's a 12-day dry cleaner. Just that opposite side of Moe's is just 12-day dry cleaner. That was funny. They're walking through New York and there's a marquee for 5 sleazy pieces.
Yeah, I did say. Oh, that was in Homer's.
Flashback, yeah.
And there was also, when they drive into New York, home of world-weary poseurs.
Oh, yeah, I saw that. That was
and
good.
then the bus that they're on is sit and stare bus lines as well. And then the pizza place, I can't remember what it was called, but it said not affiliated with Original Ray's. I think it was called like Original Flaming Ray's or something, not affiliated with Original Ray's pizza.
I think it was like a Ray's Original Pizza, not affiliated with Original Ray's Original Pizza or something like that.
Yeah. Now, that is one of the classic New York jokes. You can always get a chuckle out of a New Yorker with a famous Ray's Original Ray's pizza Ray's.
They had Original Ray's Original Ray's.
Oh, and the last sign on was the when they goes into the Mad building, and there's 2 signs, one for and everyone goes right to the methadone clinic, and he's the only one who goes left to Mad magazine.
Yeah. Oh, that was excellent. And yeah, I loved Bart's brief wander up into Mad magazine as well. And comes up to the reception. Is this Mad? No, it's short for Mademoiselle. We're paying for the assignment on installment basis.
Beautiful.
That's exactly what, as a kid, you imagined what would happen in a comic office, though. It'd be like just way crazy, wacky antics all the time.
That's why I imagine the Simpsons office would be,
Don't they cut to Mad Magazine offices in another episode?
Boy band episode.
Coincidentally also called New Kids on the Blech.
There you go.
I think that's next. I think that's in season 14, if memory serves.
Yeah, they're referencing themselves now.
Yeah, which is amazing.
Give me a picnic of phone bone. I want the drawings of New Kids on the Blech.
Yeah, and that's excellent. If you pause that scene as well, you'll see so many little winks to Mad Magazine, Spy versus Spy, and a bunch of others. Yeah. Ultimately, did this feel like an episode of The Simpsons?
Yes.
Yes. Because as we were kind of saying in the previous one, there's time for each of the characters to be themselves.
Yeah, nothing feels like filler and nothing feels rushed.
Yeah, even though essentially the rest of the 4 Simpsons are going through a New York-based sketch show. They're doing Saturday Night Live while Homer, the poor bastard, is doing long-form improv.
But at the same time, that's kind of what they're supposed to be doing. They're like, we're going to go see the sights. So it makes sense within context. It's not like... other Simpsons go-tos with like, we've gone from Mount Kilimanjaro to Queen Victoria Falls immediately because waka waka.
Yeah. And considering that, I guess we've got the benefit of hindsight going, this, you said, was the first Duffman episode. So they're trying to introduce a new character, and we don't know if they even intended for Duffman to be a recurring character at this stage, but it still feels very natural, I think.
Yeah.
Speaking of recurring characters, there's the very tall guy.
Who coincidentally is actually modelled off of the writer of this episode, Ian Maxtone Graham.
Yeah, because I'm assuming this was before 22 Short Stories?
After,
okay. Well, he shows up again.
Yeah. I think that's a little mini playlist, maybe 3 episodes. I think he's come back again, I'm not sure.
Wouldn't be too surprised.
Yeah, there's probably like a season 28 episode where him and Mel start a business with the Yes Guy. And it's Beach's least favourite episode.
I wonder why. As good Simpsons does, there is some great foley of Homer trying to undo the screws of the
everyone was
boot.
cringing when he tries to do it with his teeth.
And they hang on it for so long, and he just like makes this one final and then he sits back and goes, ow.
It's the perfect kind of like he's mildly surprised at it.
But yeah, I feel that's indicative of Simpsons just like really good, awful, cringy foley.
Yeah. Like you said, not being afraid to take their time with things. Like Homer in the Boot was like watching a good prop comic use one prop for ages.
Yeah.
And like the amount of material that he mined from it, the undoing the screws, the jackhammer thing, and
just driving with it and having ow,
and gradually getting less and less and more just like you could see his face get dark and angry and just like, oh god, yes, that's right, I fucking hate New York.
Yeah, you totally see that black to grey to white transition between joyous and to pain.
Yeah.
And then the whole jackhammer sequence as well is just beautiful.
Yes, I'd be upset too. It's like honky.
It's like, boss says you're fired. I'll show him. Just wrecks the car.
Yeah, and the vibrations as everything's falling apart, and he's doing it to himself. So you don't.
At the same time, you're like, no, this is New York's fault.
So I've got no problems with the integrity of this episode. But how about the wackiness? Yeah, I don't think they'd put the one toilet in the Tower 1
in the observation deck.
On the observation deck.
I feel
funny
like,
though.
Yeah, it did make for an excellent sequence.
Yeah, especially when he has to go from one to the other. It's just ding, ding.
Dan Castellaneta had so much fun with that bit. Like you just get to go nuts. Just get in the booth and go nuts. And he
honestly wouldn't be surprised if they moved the microphones into the bathroom to get a method performance there.
Yeah.
Well, as Danny Rosewell has once said, and it's good advice, if it's not the best pee ever, there's something wrong.
I was going to say...
That is such a, enjoy your burrito sort of...
enjoy every sandwich kind of thing. No, true fact. I told that to a friend of mine who I used to work with, and then I hung out for a beer a few years later. He's like, oh, hey, remember when you told me that? I'm like, yeah. And he goes, well... because I was going to pee and it was actually not as satisfying as normal, so I went to a doctor. I had a urinary tract infection. I was like, really? Wow. Well, thanks, Danny. You helped. I ended up telling Danny. I don't think he remembered saying it, so it didn't help him too much. No, you helped
one of
me.
Those glug 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 sort of thoughts.
Yeah, maybe. I don't know, but he was right, and it helped someone. So
excellent advice.
So
there
listeners, when you pee, if you're not. See a medical professional.
Yeah. Sorry, wackiness you were saying. I mean, Homer does get whipped in the eye.
Oh,
right in the eyeball.
I'm cringing thinking about it.
Yeah. It's after the car does the chariot race thing, grinding against the wheel.
Which is great. Call back to why the boot tore up his car so much that it did create this kind of spinning blades of death. It was really good.
Yeah, when he does get the people, the family to pile in the car, and the old, accidentally piled in Dino the dinosaur, got to put him out now.
Yeah. Also, the wackiness at the start, that Mo has an army of rats that kind of understand him. He's like, all right, it's 5 o'clock, clear off, fellas.
Yeah, Mo and the rats do have an understanding, I find. But yeah, jumping back to the Homer bathroom bit, it's not exactly wackiness because it's a fantasy sequence, but the Flushing Meadows bit, going back to, every pee should be satisfying. Should every pee have you that desperate that you're hallucinating Flushing Meadows first?
Have you ever been in a situation where you really got to hold it?
Oh, yeah.
And you're not just picturing just beautiful toilets everywhere.
I think that would be worse, any kind of... Because, I thought it was... I had it noted down. It was a really good bit of animation where he's spinning and it slowly becomes the water in the bowl, flushing down and everything. It was really good.
Oh, it's beautiful animation work there, which is sort of... This episode has some actually really cheap-looking moments. That moment when he did run from tower to tower actually looks super cheap, but the actual framing and the movement is funny.
Yeah.
And then at the end in the credits where they're doing spin around the bridge looked horrible.
It really did. It was weird.
And the cars were moving all over the place. They didn't really place them where they had them in the previous frame, and it got really basic as well. The buildings in the background were basically just rectangles.
It was super jaggy as well. It didn't flow properly.
I was going to make a note of that. I'm wouldn't be a stylistic choice. It just seemed like a bit shit, just get it done.
Just ran out of time. Whatever, it's under credits.
Honestly, I think that's what happened there. Any other wacky moments though?
Oh, the sanitation truck just dropping biohazard right in his face and stuff.
Not inaccurate.
Yeah.
Certainly doable. Also doable but not inaccurate is, are you going to complain or are you going to knit me some seatbelts?
Yeah. I love that he goes straight to building a car.
I was like, he's doing all right so far. I like how like the first couple of things he puts on are wheels and a number plate on the mattress. Like that's
just his priorities. He got the headlights as well.
It's
Yeah.
like, that's a car, isn't it?
Yeah, basically.
Yeah, wacky moments. I didn't like the moment where Bart sets off the firework and the guy goes, "Oh, Chinese fire emergency. This is not a drill or something."
Yeah.
Chinese fire drill for real this time, I think.
Yeah.
I didn't quite get it either.
No, I don't know. It just felt lazy to me. Well, Bart wasn't much of this episode at all, but save for that Mad Magazine moment, I didn't like his other appearance where he was begging on the subway.
Yeah, that was one bit where you could probably...
You could skip it. I don't think it was bad.
I don't know. I think there's a funnier way to do a "don't lick the poles on the subway" joke, and he just so has hepatitis or herpes or
Yeah, he probably does. He's probably definitely got syphilis. I think wacky bits. The way they depict the Twin Towers, like with the two people yelling at each other, but then they've got like
The guy
like,
drying the laundry.
between the buildings, like it's some old
I like that bit. Other bit of wackiness in Homer's flashback, the way the pimp runs, I just love it.
Yeah, he's like these long
legs, but they're both legs bent, kind of dashing. It's good.
They actually, both of them looked very cartoony chase. Then it was
Well, I think it was down to the music choice as well. I think that's one of the better uses of the entertainer that I've heard, because it was a kind of a sequence. Slightly slowed down version of it as well, and it worked really well. Like with the cop, like listening to him, like concerned, and then just yanking his suitcase away.
Yep.
And then the bird that takes his hot dog, and
guy who takes his white bird takes his hot dog.
And then there's Woody Allen just dumping garbage there.
Yeah. What are the chances? Like that's when you know you are cursed by a city. When like, oh fuck, of all the places. I get to get dumped on by Woody Allen's garbage.
An erotic nerd has dumped garbage on you. I really like when he's on the phone and switching between the automated version and the parts they've obviously dubbed in.
Yeah.
But I really like when it goes to, for Officer Steve Grabowski, as to imply every single parking officer is called Steve something.
Which Steve do you need? It's this Steve.
It's a way of making something that is technically not going to get a lot of jokes of a phone call he has to make for the plot actually get a bit of a chuckle in there.
Yeah, and it's hard to do a good call waiting joke these days. It's sort of felt like it's all been done.
You will be charged a small, large fee.
That was an excellent moment. But conversely to the wackiness, how about the heart? Did you guys feel bumps?
I felt bad for Homer. I don't know if that counts, but I think it does.
Oh, it does.
Because I felt, you poor son of a bitch.
Really, I don't think it was that kind of episode.
Yeah.
I felt the heart between Lisa and Marge and Shoes.
Yeah, for sure.
They wanted them some shoes.
And Bart's great line of, hey, speaking about shoes, I don't care about shoes.
And Marge and Lisa were still like, oh my God, shoes.
But
Lisa's
like, I'm going to go, I'll be back in half an hour. And Lisa's like, okay, bye, Dad.
Stay where I can see you, honey.
No, that was great. I thought there was like a great bit of romanticism with Marge and the kids in New York.
Mm-hmm.
Like they were really checking it out. And like when they were in Central Park, they had that beautiful shot of the skyline with the big orange sun. It looked great.
Yeah.
Well, not only were they checking it out, they were checking in.
They were checking in. Yeah, let's jump ahead to the musical moments of this episode. And yeah, the checking in song. I loved it.
You could almost say it goes on for quite a while.
Yeah.
But the parody lyrics are quite good.
Yeah,
they
and
are.
you get jokes. And that's what works for it. It's not just here's a musical. It's like here's musicals, actual good bits.
Yeah.
Yeah, and probably a little less culturally relevant because it looks like they're trying to do Robert Downey Jr. here. And who is very much a different person these days.
Yeah.
He's Iron Man.
I was thinking about it. I'm like going, man, Charlie Sheen should have probably looked at this and gone, oh, that could be me a few years from now.
I'm probably wrong. It could be Charlie Sheen.
Well, I reckon at the time, maybe it could have been RDJ.
Yeah, I reckon that feels a bit
because
more.
Charlie Sheen didn't go really downhill until like 2000.
He keeps finding new rock bottoms.
Yeah.
I like that in the musical. I feel like there are some reused character models. Specifically, when it flips around there in the Betty Ford clinic, there's a doctor in the background that looks like the guy from NASA.
Oh,
who keeps
yeah.
clubbing people in the back of the head. And even the judge, he looks familiar from something else.
Yeah.
So we could theorize this was The Simpsons saving money on character models. I'm going to assume these people have moved on to a life of Hollywood.
Better careers.
Yeah.
Not Hollywood, Broadway.
Yes.
The guy from NASA got disillusioned after the whole Homer
He
experience.
clubbed too many people in the head and thought, this isn't my calling.
Yep.
Moved to New York, went to an off-Broadway show. Is doing pretty good for himself.
Yeah.
So yes or no?
Oh, yeah, for sure.
Yes, sir.
Totally. If we're going to watch it again, what playlist do we put it in? I'm going to say not only Simpsons Go To, but Simpsons Go to America.
Yeah.
Yeah, fair enough.
Yes.
I don't know, the car gets wrecked.
Yeah,
Yep.
the Simpsons car. Stories about the car. A sober Barney.
Yeah.
You see a sober Barney in this episode. Pickled eggs.
Oh, yeah, that's
There are
it. That is it.
quite a few of those.
Yeah.
Definitely. And good song moments as well.
Yeah.
This was a great original song moment.
And Broadway.
And I always wanted to be in a Broadway audience.
Speaking to Marge's innocence, there are a lot of lines here that are very cute for Marge. When they first show up, it's like, wow, I feel like such a nobody.
Yeah. And even Marge is, trying to put an optimistic spin on things. Oh, Lisa, those aren't bunnies. They're okay. They're
They're
just
sleeping
upside
upside
down.
down and inside out.
Yeah.
And Duffman episodes, we've got.
Oh, Duffman episode.
This whole playlist could be a playlist.
Yes.
Except for the first episode we did tonight. Don't watch that one. Watch another Duffman episode.
Yeah. Watch the Homer hunger strike one. Hungry Homer.
That's a good one.
Yeah.
I can't wait to do that. Jordan, is there anything you'd change about this episode?
Apart from those minor little things that we removed, like maybe you remove the Bart pedaling?
Yeah. Panhandling.
Panhandling. Panhandle.
Yeah.
Oh,
Actually, there's another Bart segment that I want to remove where they're at the top of the Statue of Liberty and he calls out to the immigrants, go away, we're full.
all right, back in the hole.
That was funny at the time. Now it feels a little too pertinent, but I think it works just because he goes, okay, you heard the lady.
Yeah,
Like
yeah.
the assumption the Statue of Liberty has just told them to go away.
Yeah, but unfortunately, it hasn't aged well because Americans forget what the fuck is written on the Statue of Liberty.
Yes.
It says guns and beer. Duh.
Oh, dear. BT, what would you change about this episode?
More crab juice.
Oh, crab juice.
More crab juice.
In my memory, he also got through a lot of Clove Collage sticks.
Yeah, and this one seems to only be the one.
Yeah, which makes it weird that they had the harp fade between the two shots
Well,
of
he
him.
does go from, oh, that's awful, just to, well, now what do you have to wash that down with?
Yeah.
Just a quick good Bart line was, hey, you can't say that about places you've never been to. That's what people do in Russia.
Yeah, that was good. I did have that one. I was going to say, like, speaking of crab juice, a couple of tiny little anal corners.
Jordan's anal corner!
In New York.
I don't know. I don't know what Homer's stomach capacity is, but he had at least 15, 16 cans of crab juice at his feet. And they were bigger than
They were
the
big
regular
cans, yeah.
three. They were probably about 500 mil, I'd say.
Yep.
Once you open can, you have difficulty stopping.
So it was like 7 to 8 liters of crab juice. I don't know if a human stomach can handle
It's a
all
lot
of that. The second one was just like Duffman when he does. You were saying he hands out all the stuff and then magically, and I think maybe because it is a magic belt, his belt just gets refilled automatically in the next shot.
I would have assumed the Duffettes were like reloading him.
Yeah, that's pretty. Yeah, maybe. They've got like it spins, and so they're because they were like behind him, right? So they're probably like plugging it in and like spinning it, and then
just like the new supermarket bag carousels at Woolworths. Things I'd change about this episode. Look, not much. Sort of already hit on it with the Bart stuff. I guess there was potential for Lisa to go to a jazz club as well as Bart going to a comedy club, but I don't know where I'd put it.
Yeah, they cover a lot of ground.
I think because they're having such a lovely time anyway. Like she's like,
Like, I mean, there's so much you can do with New York. That it's almost a shame that they only had 2 acts to do it in.
Yeah.
Like, seriously, anyone around the world, if you get a chance, go to New York. BT, do you have any final notes before we rank this thing?
I also really like the when Homer finally gets the boot off his car, it ends up on his foot.
Oh,
yeah.
What a great 1-2 punch joke that
Oh,
was.
because it's a boot.
But
Yeah.
I didn't even think of that.
yeah. And of course, hey, it's ZZ Top. You guys rock. Well, maybe a little.
I remember that being in one of Channel 10's bumpers for this episode.
Yeah, I remember not really getting it as a kid either. But then like, okay.
Yeah.
They just have beards.
Yep. Except the drummer, whose last name is Beard, and that will never not be what the fuck.
Flipping expectations.
Yep.
That's what they do.
You tried drumming with a beard that big.
Oh, yeah. That would probably get in the way. You'd probably get like tangled.
I won't lie. I have caught my beard a couple of times on like my bass strap.
That's a base. You're not even like moving your arms
Yeah.
around.
Oh no, it's just because the strap sits on that shoulder. Sometimes it catches a little bit of hair
Yeah. No, fair.
when I'm moshing too much in my death metal band. Yeah, I've got a neck of steel.
Is that the name of the band?
Neck of,
New
neck of
band.
steel. I don't like as much as some of the others.
Really, neck of steel? Oh,
let's-
I'm totally like hearing a power metal band and
Yeah.
everything.
We've got to maybe swirl it around for a bit. I'll see. Give me a song title.
Swirl it around.
Okay, I'm a little on board now. We are neck of steel. We need a ride home.
Jordan, any other notes about this episode?
Yeah, I think it was really indicative of Lisa. Like when you just hear her saying, "Well, how about you give me your address?
Yeah.
And I'll send you a letter." Like,
Okay, well, why don't you just send it to care of Jesus, send care of the Pentagon.
I can imagine, yeah, because Lisa is just smart enough to be like, I can diffuse this situation.
Yeah.
And it just really dates the episode that they are doing the Macarena in the car.
Yeah. Well, this was 97, so it was actually probably culturally relevant then.
Yeah, that's what I was thinking.
All right, time for my final quick fire notes.
Can't go through airport security with those quick fire notes.
I didn't really like the joke of Homer going to pick up the kids on like a little razor scooter. I thought that was just a really dull out for that scene.
Yeah, it was like a season 20 plus joke.
Yeah, didn't care for it. Why did I write no screaming?
Because Homer's like,
Oh.
looks at all the tickets on his car, like, no, looks at the boot, no.
Oh,
and then
yeah.
looks, and there's a sign that says no screams. Oh.
Yeah, okay. Also, why did I write down Brain thank you upset to?
So, when he's all like, thank you, Brain, and he's like, well, just don't hit me on the
yeah.
way out. Boom. Oh, sorry.
Yeah, that was a little silly, but I enjoyed it. So when Homer gets the car boot stuck on his foot, is that a reboot?
Oh. Yeah, we'll be rebooting this show without you after that one.
I didn't
That's
know.
what you're going to Guantanamo for, puns.
I'm going to Guantanamo Bay.
You're double.
I'm going to call ahead.
I mean, I guess that is time to rank this thing.
Ding-a-ling-a-ling. Sorry. Ring-a-ding-ding. Keep it New York.
Well, BT, why don't you kick us off there with your rankings over here?
Ooh, I mean, it's definitely a gold, but does it cross the line? Grumbly sounds. Because there are some parts that are just, so quintessential and so heavily quotable. Like I said, Crab Juice alone might kick it over that line. I mean, there are a few points we do have that we're not too big on, but is that enough? Is it essential? Oh, god damn, that's a tough one. I'm really not sure yet. Let me mull this over for a little bit.
All right, Jordan.
Yeah, I was thinking about it like when you were saying, "Oh, that's like cubic alone." I was like,
I will say when I was halfway through watching, I'm like, no, this is going to be a gold. I don't think it's going to get to cubic. And then by the end, I'm like, ooh, maybe.
My thought is, I'm so deep still in the episode at the moment. I can't step back, and I can't tell if I'm just being really nitpicky with the things that we talked about, or whether they're real problems.
Are we being nitpicky, or are we looking at it through rose-colored glasses? Because we're still very recent to it, but
Yeah.
We're struggling, Elliot.
Well, look, if it actually helps you guys at all, I was actually skirting a silver for this one.
Really?
Ooh.
And it's just because it kind of lulls in points, but honestly, this conversation has brought me up.
Lulls.
There are so many. Oh, there are more lulls than lulls.
Sorry about that.
I might even say it's a roller coaster.
You just had to do it, didn't you?
yeah. What the fuck are you doing?
Lollicopter.
Rufflecopter.
I'm leaving.
God damn it. It is too. It is a rufflecopter.
Just on a beach walking out.
Gotta get something from the basement.
Yeah.
But look, you're right. There are so many quintessential moments in this one that I'm like, yeah, it definitely deserves more than silver. So it's actually a very easy gold for me. I don't know if that helps you guys at all. We'll start back around to BT
Yeah,
again.
it does not. Because I want it to end on like a high gold. I just don't want to drag my rating up just because of that.
I'll give it a cubic to save you the hassle, because like I said, that line of I hope someone really hope someone subs him in the eye is something that I've used to people like look, I think maybe I am just being very harsh because there are so many like just little things. There are so many signs that I didn't even pick up on. Like there's one where it's like a really quick panning shot of the city, and there was at least 6 that I didn't pick up, and I kind of want to go back and look at. And so I will give it a cubic because it is essential to me.
All right, BT.
I'm still strained. I'm still working on it. What I might come down to is if I'm walking past and this one's on and I have something else to do, I'm going to sit down and go, okay, I'm going to stay for like 5 minutes. I know I'm going to get to the end of the episode.
Yeah.
I'm going to sit. I'm going to go through it, all of it. I'm going to cubic.
Yeah?
I think so. Let me just,
Doing it?
again, I'm going to say both out loud.
All right.
I give this a cubic zirconia. And then I give that little second for like wind to go through my hair. I give this a golden hours a cubic.
Yeah?
Cubic feels right.
Wow, I'm actually really surprised, and I'm actually kind of proud of this episode as well.
Yeah.
I'm just looking at season 9 now. It's a bit of a mixed bag where we've got Simpson, Tyne, and Natural Born Kisses as like a shiny bronze, but then Dumbbell Indemnity is a gold, and then the rest of them are all dull cubics. Actually, Realty Bites and the Cartridge Family.
Yeah. Just talking about how that it still is a bit of a mixed bag, but there's still not.
There's still some great episodes.
And even then, I still think Prince Oil and the Pauper is a great episode. It's just it does fuck with the canon and does it with a bullshit ending that we were just criticizing the last episode we watched for doing. Anyway, other dull cubic zirconias this will be joining is HOMR, the Homer Crayon Brain episode, Little Big Mum with Stupid Sexy Flanders, Simpson spin-off showcase. I believe I golded that one while everyone else was fucking
well,
blowing
that
on
one's another difficult one to rank.
Yeah.
I think I gave it cubic on that mostly because it was nailing what it was going for. And what it was going for was cringe.
Definitely. Bart the Murderer, which we reviewed together, 3 Men in the Comic Book. Yeah, Bart gets an elephant. Yeah, I'm actually proud of how well this episode did.
It's like a very nice like statue piece of art that's just like it's got a little bit of like dust and blemish on it, so you just got to wipe it off and then it would be perfect.
And then people can come round and look at your statue of crab juice.
Yes.
All right. Well, yeah, it is hot in here, so I think it's about time we go get a crab juice. BT, thank you for joining me for episode 67.
Thank you for having me.
And thank you, Jordan.
Oh, you're so welcome.
Awesome. And yeah, that's a wrap tonight, guys. And that's all the mustard in the house.
No mustard, only crab juice.
Thank you for checking out the Simpsons Index podcast. Don't forget to go to www.thesimpsonsindex.com for the spreadsheet and information about upcoming episodes.
And for today's extra content,
Gold, silver, bronze, cubic, Z. Gold, silver, bronze, cubic, Z. Failure.
Participant.
Participant.
That would be the audio equivalent of a participant, just a song that's the one melody. This is a participant.
I feel like it should be more plotting, like this is a participant, like more like
There's still
like a little blob.
There's still emphasis being put on it. Needs to be this is a participant. This is nothing new. It's not like you didn't know. Hang on a sec.
Do it in the mic for the deleted scenes, but then disinfect the afro. Rubbing is not disinfecting.
It is if your hands are made of ammonia.
Yeah.
Good point. I dig it. Jordan, what was a joke? Jordan, what was a joke that stood out to you? Oh, fuck. Come on, Elliot. Get your shit. Jordan, what was a joke, for better or worse, that stood out to you then? Probably
that's not
Pinko
true.
Taro, hey? Do you know him?
No.
I swear you people are making up words now.
I have a pen.
Oh, yeah. Pen, pineapple, apple, pen.
Yeah.
Pen, pineapple, apple, pen? Yeah.
You don't know that?
Apple, pen.
Pineapple pen. Do, do, do.
Oh, yeah, of course.
Pen, pineapple, apple pen.
I can't tell which of us is having a stroke.
He's got this look, and I think I've given this to people. It's like, are you making this up and you just happen to be like really riding the same wavelength right now?
Yeah, usually I'm the one who's making the thing up.
Yeah.
This is like Mighty Boosh when they do crimping, and it's just like just complete random, but just totally in sync.
Yeah.
Totally. And speaking of which, come upon a Bob's Burgers podcast called Burgers and Fries, and I'm enjoying them quite much.
Don't you tell me no lies.
Yeah, that's what they use for their theme song.
No, I figured.
Got some burgers and fries. I got some burgers and fries. Well,
Well,
there's some right here.
here.
Don't you tell me
No lies.
Yeah. I drop a notebook and to duty.
Magi.
It is Magi?
Yeah.
Is it based on anything?
It's based on the gift of the Magi, which is meant to be the Magi meant to be the three wise men who visited Jesus and their gifts, yada yada. Grift is, the con of the.
Oh.
What was the thing of the episode again? What was the concept of the episode?
The mob do a bad deal for building school ramps. The school ramps are destroyed, but they still squeeze Skinner for the money. And then he sells the school to an advertising firm who are just extracting kids for information about the new Funzo toy.
Yeah, so Christmas, Magi, but they're being grifted.
Yeah. Oh, there we
Yeah.
go. So yeah, this is not too loud.
Mm-mm.
I was just a bit soft in my cans before, so I was worried about hurting you.
I love your sex tape.
Excellent.
I was a little soft in your cans earlier. I was worried about hurting you.
Oh.
No, it's really
Considerate.
lovely.
It's not like the hard funk music. It's ding, ding, ding. Yeah, that's a nice missionary porno.
Softcore with nothing below the waist.
Who goes below the waist?
No, it's full on, full on fucking, but you're just, they're gentle about it,
Mm.
Yeah, you serve oranges at halftime.
And
That's how you take care of your lover.
yeah, it's not, take my dick, bitch. My lover isn't receiving my phallus. Just a delight.
Oh, God.
Sure is.
Change up your dirty talk. See what happens. You might be pleasantly surprised.